listening to the home of the best coverage of your Phoenix Suns and the NBA. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
Ready? Go.
Okay, doctor.
Operation.
No, the most amazing care.
They changed my life. Pioneers Hospital for Children! Because people just like you, kids like me, can play in the game of life. Thank you! Go to lovetridents.org right away. Thank you!
Live from the CNWT.
Wait, what's the CNWT?
Central Northwest Tucson, duh.
It's DK on the Sports Tip with your host, David Kelly.
Radio. Just when I thought I was out, they drug me back in.
Featuring J.W. Madden.
Don't tell me about flip-flops, man. I'm a native.
David Amata.
Hey, that's Dragon Ball to you.
And Cricket getting you home with traffic and weather.
Camp on Melt Lemon, not in the left lane on the freeway.
Here we go! And now, a man who has not one, but three first names, David Scott Kelly.
And a great Friday afternoon to you. We have made it through the first full week of this new year, 2025, January. This is actually, we go through these phases in college athletics where, you get the fall sports that start in September, practices start in August. We start covering fall camp usually around the beginning of August, and that's like an everyday thing for however long that goes, usually about 3.5 weeks. Then you get into the seasons, the fall seasons, and then there's the crossover when basketball, both men and women, begin. And then there's November, which is like an absolute bear because you've got men's games, women's games, football, volleyball. You got all these things going on at the same time. Then December kind of crescendos down a little bit. We get into the holidays, a few less events. And then we hit January and it starts to ramp up again because now you've got what I call the second phase of the winter sports starting to begin. You've got gymnastics, which is going now. They had their first meet last week. We'll talk a little bit about that today. Swimming, in fact, is underway. I think there was a meet today. I was over on campus for the Tommy Lloyd press conference show, and the pool was open, and the kids were in there and getting ready for their match today. So you've got Harvard in town. How about that? I don't know. I'm trying to remember if I ever remember recently, or if I've been here 17 years, a Harvard athletic team coming into Tucson to play anything. Sometimes we'll get those smaller Eastern schools during softball for the early softball tournaments, and there's usually many of those, and we'll get some teams from there, but I don't ever remember Harvard being one of those teams. I'd be interested to find out the last time a Harvard athletic team came into Tucson to take on the Wildcats. But that is happening today, swimming. And it's a great day. So if you're getting out of work early, if you're getting ready for the Yachtly Crew concert tonight down at the Rialto, I'll be down there for that. Head on over to campus and check out some swimming today. The swimmers have been kicking butt. We'll talk a few. They've gotten some Big 12 awards here. We'll tell you about who's been lighting it up for the swim team coming up today. Shine a light on some of those youngsters that put on the Cardinal and Navy. That'll be fun. And they're doing a great job. We appreciate everything that those kids are doing, starting to build that back up. And that's what we need to do. We need to build back up those swimming programs. I've talked about it at length before. When I break down like the importance of where Arizona was in the Directors Cup way back in the day. Talking 90s, almost 30 years ago now, when they were a top 10 program across the country. And one of the reasons was because they were dominant in the pool. You've got to get back to being dominant in the pool. And hopefully the new coach is quickly putting that whole thing back on that trajectory here at the University of Arizona. A lot in store for you today. We're going to talk some Arizona men's basketball. The Wildcats will take on UCF tomorrow night at McHale Center, the first of a two-game homestand, two-game weekend, with the weekend being Saturday and Tuesday now in the Big 12, if you aren't playing along yet. The Wildcats will take on UCF and Baylor. Baylor on the second half of the homestand on Tuesday night before heading back out onto the road. Mark Daniels, the voice of the Knights, will join us coming up here in about 10 minutes or so. We'll break down UCF. Mikey Williams is on that team. Mikey Williams was a recruit for the Arizona Wildcats not too many moons ago. We'll get Mark's thoughts on Mikey. Mikey doesn't play a lot, but we'll get Mark's thoughts on that anyway. See kind of maybe where Mikey, who chose not to come to Arizona, chose instead to go to Central Florida, how he stands in their plans. Also, we continue to keep our eyes on Los Angeles, where there are horrible wildfires happening shortly after we went off the air last night, or it might have been did we announce that when we were on the air? I think we did announce that when we were on the air, that the playoff game is, in fact, going to be in Arizona this weekend. We had talked about that 2 days ago, the possibility that the Rams game would be moved to State Farm Stadium in Glendale. That has happened, and so there will be playoff football in Arizona on Monday night between the Minnesota Vikings and the Los Angeles Rams as a result of the ongoing wildfires that have devastated the southern coast part of the Los Angeles area. I mean, the pictures are just unbelievable. I mean, Pacific Palisades, which is one of the richest communities in this country, does not even exist anymore, largely. I mean, unbelievable pictures to see all the burned properties in
That's
Pacific
where
Palisades.
Luke Olson's first recruit came from.
First recruit.
Wow.
And that was?
Steve Kerr.
Yeah.
His childhood home. Talked about it.
Yep.
Burnt down.
Yeah. Sad. Absolutely sad. They are dispatching firefighters from all over the West to head to Los Angeles. Tucson is sending crews to Los Angeles. Barrett Baker will join us. We will talk about that with him. Also, of course, if you got Barrett Baker coming on, you got to talk Arizona football as well. One of his former teammates, Joe Salavea, introduced today as the new associate head coach and defensive line coach for the Arizona Wildcats. We'll hear a little bit from Joe Salavea coming up today, as well as Danny Gonzalez. Also, Jeff Pacoda is going to join us on the show. Jeff covers high school football here in southern Arizona. When we always get into January, and really what happens initially is I believe it was November, they announce what teams are going to be moving from what conference to what conference, and then those schools have a chance to petition to either stay in the conference that they are currently in or go to a different conference. And so all of that came down yesterday. We'll dive into that. Several teams are going to be moving or on the move. Empire is actually moving up. They're in 3A currently. They're going to go to 4A. We'll give you the diatribe and talk to Jeff about all of that, what it means, what's good, what's bad in terms of the restructuring. Again, it seems to happen every couple of years with the AIA. It's not anything I really understand why we have to do this every couple of years, but it is what it is. So we'll get into that as well today. Want to hear from you. 520-848-1290. 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. College football playoff last night. Notre Dame beats Penn State. Probably should not have, but they did because Penn State turned the ball over late, and Notre Dame kicks a game-winning field goal. Makes me look good because I think Notre Dame's the team to beat. And then tonight you've got Ohio State and Texas for the final spot in the college football national championship game. We'll get our question of the day up. We've been racing around with the later in the day Tommy Lloyd press conference today, so I've had a chance to put that question up yet, but it'll be similar to yesterday's question and who you think is going to win tonight. And if you want to call up and tell us who you think is going to win tonight, we'll talk to you about that as well. 520-848-1290. You can call us. You can text us. All of that on today's show. Also, we'll let you know what NFL games we've got coming up. We won't have any NFL games. Super Wild Card Weekend, 6 games. 4 of those games you'll be able to hear right here on Wildcats Radio 1290. You will not be able to hear either of the games tomorrow because obviously we've got commitments with Arizona football and Arizona basketball, and it's later in the day with the 8 o'clock start time tomorrow night. So we are unable to carry either of the games tomorrow, but we will have 3 games for you on Sunday and the game between the Vikings and the Rams, which will be in Arizona. We'll have that game for you here on Monday night. It is DK on the Sports Tip. Much more straight ahead. We'll talk some Arizona, Central Florida basketball with Mark Daniels next. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
Stay informed on all the latest news from McHale Center and Arizona men's basketball by following us on Twitter at Wildcats1290. When news breaks from Tommy Lloyd's team, we will bring it to you on Wildcats Radio 1290.
Debt can really take a toll on you. Between minimum payments and interest rates, it is really stressful, and at times, it feels like you cannot get ahead. Navy Federal Credit Union understands debt is a huge stressor, and they are here to help. Navy Federal Credit Union has all the financial tools and resources that you need to dominate debt. Right now, Navy Federal Credit Union is offering a 0% intro APR on credit card balance transfers for 12 months. Plus, you can also get $250 when you spend $2,500 in your first 90 days on a Cash Rewards or Cash Rewards Plus credit card. Don't let debt drag you down. Visit NavyFederal.org to start dominating debt today. Navy Federal Credit Union, our members are the mission. Navy Federal is insured by NCUA. After the intro rate expires, variable APRs are 15.15% to 18% based on credit worthiness. Rates are subject to change. ATM fees for cash advances are up to $1 at non-Navy Federal ATMs.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and Senior Vice President of Men's Sexual Health at HIMSS. In my 12 years of practice as a reproductive urologist, I've helped many guys with ED, and it has never been more convenient to treat than it is right now, thanks to HIMSS. It really wasn't easy before. You had to take time out of your day, come to a physical office, and see a specialist like me in person. Now, through HIMSS.com, you can get world-class sexual health care and a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. It starts with a free assessment from a medical provider licensed in your state who can determine if ED treatment is right for you. If prescribed, your medication is shipped to you for free. So don't wait. Join the hundreds of thousands of guys who've gotten help for their ED through HIMSS.
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to HIMSS.com/joy. That's HIMSS.com/joy for your free online visit.
Paramount Plus is your streaming home for the NFL playoffs on CBS. It all kicks off with 2 wildcard games as the Chargers visit the Texans Saturday at 4:30 Eastern and the Bills host the Broncos Sunday at 1 Eastern. And it's all streaming live on Paramount Plus.
Here's a riddle for you. What do yoga mats, a toothbrush, and a Hyundai have in common? I'll give you a moment. Time's up. If you guessed they're all fun, well-designed, and super useful, you guessed wrong. The answer is you can order all these things on Amazon. And the best part, you won't even have to break down a car-sized Amazon box after, because you'll pick up your Hyundai at the dealer. Hyundai, now available on Amazon. Visit HyundaiUSA.com or call 562-314-4603 for more details. Limited availability. Pick up through a participating Hyundai dealers in select markets.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, this is Wildcats Radio, 1290 Traffic and Weather together. Collisions that are reported at Flowing Wells and Wetmore and Flowing Wells, Cortero, and I-10. Reported at the westbound I-10 frontage road in Cortero. Thornydale and Ina, that wreck reported westbound on Ina at Thornydale. And for your weather, we've got a freeze warning in effect, 32 the low, 61 sunny tomorrow, 60 on Sunday, and 57 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio, 1290 Traffic and Weather together.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies, offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Perfect for instant contact with an aging parent. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com and you'll get an extra 60% off, free UPS shipping, and add code radio for an extra 5% off.
This Sunday, the NFL wildcard action is on Wildcats Radio 1290. Kick off the day with the Broncos versus Bills at 11 a.m. Then it's the Packers and Eagles. Under the lights, it'll be the Commanders and the Buccaneers. Only on Wildcats Radio 1290. DK on the sports tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
Let's get you set for the Arizona Wildcats and the Central Florida Knights at McHale Center on Saturday. We are pleased to be joined by the voice of the Knights, Mark Daniels, joining us. And Mark, okay, so I got to go back to football first, because when we played down there for football, it was the space game and the Citronauts. Do you guys have a space game for basketball? Do you use that moniker at all for one basketball game as well?
We do. We'll have a space game next Saturday against Houston. So, yes, basketball does use space game and Citronauts, and we'll have the powder blue uniforms for next Saturday's home game against Houston.
Okay, well, I'm glad that's not happening this Saturday, because that did not go well for us down there for the football game.
Home games only. Home games only.
There you go. Okay, so 2-1 to start Big 12 conference play. A win at Texas Tech to get things going on the road. Not such a great performance against Kansas on Sunday, but a nice bounce-back win Wednesday against our old friends from Boulder, Colorado. What's your assessment just through the first three games of Big 12 about where this team might stand, if they might be bigger than that 11th place finish that they got in the preseason poll?
Well, look, UCF, first year in the Big 12 last year, I thought played above what people thought they could by winning 7 conference games and beating Kansas at home and having some of the quality victories, beating Texas and beating Oklahoma. And yet Johnny Dawkins was bringing back a very few players from last year's team, just his backcourt, talented players, but I brought in 9 new faces again. So how that team is going to come together, a non-conference schedule gave UCF a chance to get some wins. We went up to Greenbrier Resort in West Virginia, played a really talented Wisconsin team, got beat in that game and then blew a 20-point lead against LSU. Should have had that game. And then you still kind of wonder what was UCF going to be. Open the season with the impressive one against Texas A&M, who I think is really good. And then, went to Texas Tech and a very tough place to play against a team that brought back some experienced players of a tournament team last year. And UCF had a big lead. Texas Tech got back in the ball game. The Knights did some good things to close it out. Look, we got Kansas at a time that Kansas really needed a win. They lost at home to West Virginia. We couldn't play any worse. I'm not quite sure they could have played any better. I'm not saying they were as good as Kansas. The game got away early, and then it just got ugly. It doesn't erase what the final score was, but the old adage, don't let one game beat you twice or more. And I think that was interesting to see how UCF was going to come out and handle the game against Colorado. They were 0 for 10 to start the game.
Yeah.
But rallied after being down 10, made some big plays late, played better defense late, shut out Colorado the final 3 minutes, a couple of interesting calls, but got the win. I think Colorado, despite being 0-3, they've got some talent, a well-coached team in Tad Boyle. So 2-1, I think if you're UCF, you feel good about where you are, knowing you've got this tough road trip against both Arizona schools.
Now, this is a UCF team that gives up a lot of points, almost 80 points per ball game. Arizona, obviously, is a team that can put up the points. So what's the biggest concern, I guess, for the Knights and how they're going to try to stop the Wildcats?
Yeah, I think, historically, Johnny Dawkins' team has played really good defense. And the numbers this year, a little bit skewed. I think they're better defensively than what the stat sheet shows from some of the non-conference games that got a little bit away from you and so forth. But also what UCF is different this year compared to last year's team, they got more scores. Last year's team struggled to score, and really they had to keep teams in the 60s to have a chance. This team can win games in the 70s and 80s. But there's a concern, obviously, about a UCF's defense against a matchup like Arizona's playing so well right now. And the Knights are thin up front. 7'2" freshman center Mustafa Cham is really good, and he's going to get even better. There's not much depth behind him, and if he gets in foul trouble, UCF's got to play more of an undersized lineup. Benny Williams, the Syracuse transfer, we listed 6'9". Benny might be 6'7.5", 6'8". So the concern is when you face lineups that can go big, how UCF handles that. They prefer more of a guard-heavy game, so it just almost goes game to game. But I think UCF knows in this particular game, ideally you don't want a game up in the 80s. I think Johnny Dawkins comfortable with this team like they played the last game, mid-70s. If you get somebody in the 60s, I think they like their chances. But they do have more scores this year than last year's team.
We're chatting with Mark Daniels. He is the play-by-play man for the Central Florida Knights. Obviously, Johnny Dawkins, you mentioned that name, head coach of this team, a guy that we're familiar with from his time here in the Pac-12 with long time with the Stanford Cardinal. You mentioned a little bit about his history at the defensive end. How do these teams do they resemble a lot of what he's done? Is it a lot of the same things that he did when he was out here on the West Coast that fans might recognize for the Knights when they get on the floor?
Yeah, I think Johnny's always been a defensive first guy, kind of a tough a mindset and a physical basketball team, but it's been an adjustment coming from the American to the Big 12 where you had to kind of build your roster with the physicality of the Big 12, and I think UCF learned that last year. I think the first half of the Big 12 season last year, they're a bit overwhelmed, and then you kind of figure, okay, now I got an idea how to play. And now as they went to build a roster year two, I think that's a better idea about how you try to build a roster. But Johnny, I think, would tell you he wants his team to play better defense. And they had a stretch before conference play where they were holding teams into the 60s and so forth. But yet, again, because of an ability of more scores and guys that can create on the wing, they've changed their offense a little bit. They've kind of opened things up. And, Johnny brought in an assistant that kind of is an offensive coordinator that they do a few things that, typical Johnny Dawkins team haven't done in the past. He's comfortable with the three-guard lineup, move the ball, and Keyshawn Hall is a talented 6'7", 235-pound wing. He can score from 3, he can score from 15, he can score around the basket. He's got the best moves to get inside for UCF. So that's, I think, led to Johnny to open up a little bit more offensively than probably teams of the past.
And, it's interesting. We always like to kind of look at the rosters in this era where a lot of teams, like you mentioned, getting guys in, having to rebuild rosters, where some of those players are coming from. And I see Georgia Tech and Syracuse and Memphis and some of the other schools that are on your guys' roster, LaSalle. So, again, these are kids that are coming into your program from pretty solid other programs as well. I mean, Jordan Ivy Curry, the catalyst in the win over Colorado, what kind of player is he?
Jordan Ivy Curry started his career at UTSA and then went to Pacific for a year, went back to San Antonio. A lot of schools wanted Juice, and he chose to come to play at UCF. Got a really good outside game, good crossover dribble, a good catch and shoot guy. It's been interesting to watch him because, again, you're talking about some guys that maybe were leading scorers at their school before, but how do you handle Big 12 play? We went out to Texas Tech in that environment. How do you handle that? How do you bounce back after the Kansas game? And we started 0 for 10, and then Juice hit 4 straight baskets for 10 quick points, and he can get going. Same deal with Keyshawn Hall. You come from that level below. How do you handle that? And really for Darius Johnson, the point guard, he's the only guy that had that full season of Big 12 experience. Jalen Sellers, one of UCF's other leading scorers, missed the first 10 games with a back injury, came back for 3, didn't play in the game against Colorado. He'll travel out to Arizona. We'll see. It's almost a game-by-game deal. So, this is a team that's still learning itself with some guys that haven't played at this level and you get some guys that say, hey, how come that wasn't called a foul? And the answer is welcome to the Big 12.
You know, Mikey Williams was a guy that Arizona offered. I think we were one of the first schools to offer Mikey out of Southern California. Do you get a sense that this game means more to him, if at all?
Well, I think for Mikey, and Mikey's a good kid. I think it's well documented his travels, and he's still adjusting to playing college basketball. Let's not forget, guys. He's out there playing high school basketball. Doesn't play for more than a year and a half. Now gets acclimated, steps into high level college basketball, learning his way in a system, asked to play defense and do some things that he typically didn't have to do when he was playing high school basketball. And then also he wasn't healthy. Mikey's battled a foot injury for quite some time, and he's playing through some pain. But he's getting more comfortable. He's getting some minutes. I think every opportunity for him is a learning opportunity. I'm sure he's excited to go back towards the West Coast and, I know people out there. And it'll be interesting to see how he continues to get playing time as we get deep into Big 12 play.
And obviously you mentioned last year was your guys' first year in this conference. This is our first year in the conference out here at Arizona. How has this gone for you guys? How is this transition into the Big 12 worked from the Central Florida standpoint is to the first year versus the second year?
For all UCF programs, and I'll just mention about football and basketball, to watch UCF play well football, clearly in the American and Cincinnati were the two dominant programs there. You had to learn about Big 12 football and the physical style, the offenses, the defenses, the quality of coaches. Same thing in basketball where the jump was even bigger for us. Our basketball program was not contending every year in the American. So it was a significant jump and a little bit of a culture shock, but it was awesome. And I think, you want to play at a high level like this. And I think from a fan standpoint, it was awesome. Every home game for UCF is a sellout in the Big 12. That was not the case in the American. And now fans want to come and see a great brand. I love it. The competition's incredible. Every game is a challenging game. I think there's no gimmies in this league. Clearly, there are some teams that are, I think, above others, but tough to go on the road and win games and physical. And I just think every night you're like, wow, like we come here on this trip out to Arizona State. Great. We come home for Houston, then go to Iowa State. I mean, come on, what's wrong with that? As far as great quality basketball goes,
Central Florida pretty healthy coming in.
Well, Jalen Sellers, who as I mentioned before, was one of UCF leading scorers last year, averaging just under 16 a game. I think at the end of the season, he was I think UCF one of the better backcourts of the league last year. At the end of the year with Sellers and Darius Johnson. Darius has played and has played well this year. Jalen missed 10 games with a back injury that he suffered in an exhibition game, played 3 games, and did not play in Colorado. He'll travel in kind of a game-by-game with him. Everybody else is healthy for UCF. Sellers is important. He's a big 6'4", 220-pound guard that looks like a Big 12 guard. It helps when you have him. If you don't, then you're asking guys to play a little bit more minutes, and you're asking more experienced guys to play, and that makes it challenging. UCF knows, well, they don't know. I remember 2007 coming out there. The environment they're about to step into is one of the best in college basketball. I think it's awesome. That's what this league is about. Looking forward to it, and I think for some UCF players, they got to quickly realize, the environment they're going to be playing in.
And we're chatting once again with the voice of UCF Knights. His name is Mark Daniels. One more question for you, Mark. Darius Johnson. He just seems like, I would imagine he's the point guard. It seems like he's a guy that gets it done at both ends of the floor. 57 assists and 42 steals. Wow.
Yeah, and leading the league in minutes played, and that's where, UCF needs him on the floor. I've watched Darius every year grow up from a guy looking to find his place and then, showing some skills and getting a little bit thicker and stronger. And, really the last third of the season last year, he was as good as anybody in the league as far as putting up numbers. He was averaging well over 20 points a game. And tough guy, can get to the basket, loves the contact, doesn't mind getting inside the paint, going against bigger players. A teardrop three-point shot. He's shooting better than 40% from the three-point line. And Darius is the floor captain, and he's that other coach for Johnny Dawkins. So, for UCF to win a game like Arizona State, they need Darius out of foul trouble, being able to knock down the outside shot, kind of being a calming influence on the floor. And like I said, he's playing a lot of minutes, 35-plus minutes a game, which you need out of a senior. And, he's a good one, and UCF needs him to be a leader out there.
Mark, what are your main keys to a win for UCF?
Well, protect the basketball. UCF can't turn the ball over and make it easy for Arizona. They've got to avoid the 8-0, 10-0 run that turns a 2-point game to a 10-point game. They've got to shoot well early. UCF, a little bit of a head scratcher. There's been about 5-6 games that they'll get off to, like we were 0 for 10 against Colorado on Wednesday. They've gone 1 for 9. They've gone 0 for 7 from the three-point line. They've got to be able to knock down some shots early on to kind of get themselves comfortable into the flow of the game. Stay out of foul trouble. Mustafa Chem, 7'2". He just turned 18 years old. He reclassified, still supposed to play high school basketball. He's the highest recruit that UCF's ever had. I think he's on a course that he'll play at the next level. When that happens, I don't know. But he's got very developed skills for a kid from Senegal that looks the part, shoots free throws about 70%, has a nice three-point shot. He's got to stay out of foul trouble. If he's in foul trouble, UCF lacks depth up front, and then there's a ripple effect of that with Arizona's depth, that would be a problem for UCF. So stay out of foul trouble, protect the basketball, knock down some shots, give yourself a chance in the second half. I think that's, everybody wants to blow somebody out, but I think for UCF, give yourself a chance. You look up at the under 8 timeout, it's a 1-2 possession game, and then take it from there.
Mark, we appreciate you taking a few minutes to join us and letting all of our fans out here know a little bit about this UCF basketball team.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right, our BetQL top plays. It's the college football playoff. That is straight ahead. DK on the sports tip, Wildcats Radio 1290.
Like the latest news on the Arizona Wildcats, including exclusive original content and interviews. This is the exclusive home of Arizona football. Wildcats Radio 1290.
And that's why I always come up with the best ideas.
All right, you had a good idea last month.
Yep, people really loved getting a brand new Alaskan AC Grizzly with 12 months, no payments, and no interest.
Plus a 10-year guarantee on parts and labor.
It was a good idea, Gary.
Bet you can't pull another rabbit out of your pants.
Hat.
Bet I can.
Bet you can't.
All right, settle down. Let's hear Gary's idea for this month.
Let's do it again.
Do it again? That's your idea?
Not good.
Not good? It's
brilliant.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Gross.
Give the people what they want.
Another month to get in on the best thing we do all year.
Folks can get the AC that was built for Arizona summers.
They can get it and make no payments until 2026.
And they're getting 10 years parts and labor covered.
Then it's settled. Alaskan AC is giving you another chance to get our exclusive made for Arizona air conditioner.
The Grizzly.
AlaskanAC.com.
Are you 50 or older? This news is for you. The CDC now recommends you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at risk. People 50 or older are over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults 18 to 49. Just one shot can help protect you. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
This new year, get started on your next success with University of Maryland Global Campus. Apply by February 12th and get your application fee waived. An accredited state university, UMGC offers online and hybrid classes, along with more than 135 degrees and certificates in in-demand fields like business, cybersecurity, healthcare, and more. Gain the skills and credentials you need to achieve your career goals. Get your application fee waived through February 12th. Learn more at umgc.edu. Certified to operate in Virginia by Chev.
Do you often worry you left your garage door open? With the LiftMaster Garage Door Opener powered by MyQ, you'll never worry again. You can control, secure, and monitor your garage from your smartphone anytime from anywhere through the MyQ app. As an authorized LiftMaster dealer, we have smart openers designed for your needs, including belt drive motors for ultra-quiet operation, integrated camera for live video streaming, and battery backup that lets you in when the power is out. The team at Kaiser Garage Doors and Gates are your locally owned LiftMaster professionals. Visit KaiserGarage.com to learn more.
Must qualify for enrollment. Results may vary.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS.
They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-8695. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com
or call 800-575-8695. That's 800-575-8695.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Paramount Plus is your streaming home for the NFL playoffs on CBS. It all kicks off with 2 wildcard games as the Chargers visit the Texans Saturday at 4:30 Eastern and the Bills host the Broncos Sunday at 1 Eastern. And it's all streaming live on Paramount Plus.
Clones, what do we want when we're craving protein or we need some more energy? Not bars, not sugary snacks, not energy drinks. What we want is beef, pure and simple. So where's the beef? It's in a package of Old Trapper beef jerky. Old Trapper is not your father's jerky. It's not shriveled, dry, and tasteless. Old Trapper beef jerky is made from lean strips of steak and quality spices that are smoked over a real wood fire. So it's tender and it's tasty. It's not tough. And why is it so good? Because Old Trapper is a 50-year-old family business known for their relentless commitment to quality. They take smoked beef extremely seriously, and you can taste it in every single bite. Old Trapper is packed with protein. It comes in 4 great flavors to satisfy all your cravings. Quality smoked meat at its finest that goes with you wherever you go, to the game, to the gym, to the beach. So look for Old Trapper in the Clearview bag. You can see the quality you're buying. Look for it in major retail stores near you. If you don't see it, clones, ask for it by name because no other jerky compares. Old Trapper, what's your beef?
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together. Reported collisions, Ajo to the west of Country Club, Alvernon and Drexel. Drexel and Alvernon expect emergency crews on site. Westbound I-10 Frontage Road near Cortero, Flowing Wells and Wetmore, and also Thornydale and Ina. And for your weather, freeze warning, 32 the low, 61 sunny tomorrow, 60 on Sunday, and 57 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together.
This report is sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Progressive makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your motorcycle, RV, boat, ATV, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at Progressive.com. That's Progressive.com.
DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. You can call us at that number. You can text us at that number. Appreciate Mark Daniels for joining us, the voice of the UCF Knights. They'll be in the building tomorrow night for the second half of the basketball doubleheader. Ladies will be at 2 o'clock tomorrow against Iowa State. Iowa State won on the first half of this trip to the desert, beating Arizona State the other night. So it'll be the Wildcats and the Cyclones for the first time in Big 12 action. That'll be a 2 o'clock start. Our coverage will begin at 1:45. Play-by-play coverage with Derek Palmer over on KTUC AM 1400. And then we will begin our coverage at 4:30 with Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day for the men's contest, which will be at 8 o'clock, 4:30 to 7:30. We've got you there. We mentioned some events happening today around Arizona athletics. The track team opens up their indoor season tonight up in Flagstaff at the Friday night Axum Open. Axum meaning, of course, Lumberjacks. So we'll keep an eye on the. Actually, I think that it's listed as Friday night, but I think the actual meet started a couple of hours ago. So events are already going on. We'll see if we can maybe get you some of the early results. Also, swimming happening right now. Men's swimming. The men are taking on Harvard over at the Hillenbrand Aquatics Center. That got underway about 2 o'clock tonight. And then gymnastics is on the road at the Sprouts Farmers Market Collegiate Quad. That is in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. They opened up their campaign last week and are competing again this weekend. Just some of the Big 12 preseason gymnastics rankings to tell you about here. Allison Fierce, senior, is preseason all Big 12 in the all-around as well as the vault, the bars for Allison. And then you've got Elena Dietz, preseason all Big 12 on the beam, and Emily Mueller, who is all preseason Big 12 on the floor. So some of the early rankings as the ladies get set for their first year of competition in the Big 12. And we mentioned some of the stars talking about swimming and men's swimming competing today. Congratulations to Ralph Dalladine. He, last week, was the first Wildcat to be named Big 12 Men's Swimmer of the Week. Dalladine tallied 2 individual event wins and 2 relay wins. This is back from Arizona's dual meet against BYU, which took place before Christmas. The junior is from Luxembourg, Germany. He won the 100 freestyle with a time of 43.34, and he won the 200 freestyle with a time of 133.64. Then he swung the anchor leg on the Wildcats 200 freestyle relay team, which finished at 1 minute, 18.74 seconds. And then the 400 medley relay, which finished at 3:09. So he was a winner on all 4 of those squads. Ralph last year earned second team All-American honors with the Cats in the 400-meter medley relay. That Wildcat squad finished 15th overall at the NCAA championship. So congratulations to Ralph Dalladine for being the first Arizona men's swimmer to be named
Make sure you download it.
Men's Swimmer of the Week. DK on the sports tip. Now you can play that commercial. It'll be us coming back with more right after this.
It's playing
time
itself,
now.
DK. Nobody's playing anything over here.
Exactly. Sometimes things just fire on their own. To the gods up there that are making that happen. And we'll have much more coming up for you. This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
Make sure you download or update the Wildcats Radio 1290 app. We've got the entire state covered like no other sports radio station in southern Arizona. Plus, when you have the app, you can cover U of A sports with Wildcats Radio 1290 anywhere and everywhere you go and out of town, too. The mountains, the beach, working out, or maybe even...
Oh, no. Turn that off.
Download or update the Wildcats Radio 1290 app today and never miss a moment of sports analysis. Well, maybe an occasional moment. Wildcats Radio 1290.
Hey homeowners, are you ready to chill out and go green? Goodfellas Air Conditioning can help. Introducing our latest lineup of energy-efficient systems featuring the new R32 refrigerant. It's cooler, greener, and better for the planet. You'll enjoy lower energy bills and a smaller carbon footprint. Not a fan of change? Goodfellas has a surplus of reliable R410 systems available. Unsure about what system you have or have questions? Give us a call for a free inspection. Goodfellas Air Conditioning, keeping it cool, keeping it green, and always keeping you comfortable.
TFCU Gives supports local organizations who help those in need. We take pride in giving back and believe that we are stronger when we all pitch in to help one another. For over 50 years, The Haven has provided women with a safe, inclusive place for recovery with respect, without shame or judgment. TFCU invites you to join us in partnering with The Haven for the health and respect of all women throughout our community. Visit thehaventucson.org to learn more.
The Dell Technologies semi-annual sale is on with limited quantity deals on top tech. Save on select PCs powered by the latest 12th gen Intel Core processors like thin and light XPS 13 laptops, Inspiron laptops, and 2-in-1s. Plus, get savings on select accessories, free shipping, and monthly payment options with Dell Preferred Account. Save today by calling 877-ASK-DELL. That's 877-ASK-DELL.
Deep three is good, and the Cats are on top.
Put up a three-pointer that'll count if it falls, and it does!
Do you believe in McHale magic? Every voice matters. Every roar matters. And when your Wildcats take the floor against top 25 Big 12 opponents, you make the difference. McHale Center is the place to be, and the time is now to experience the high-flying action of Arizona basketball. Don't wait and lock in your tickets today by calling 520-621-2287 or by visiting ArizonaWildcats.com. Bear down. Go Cats!
The Wildcats play here. This is your home of Arizona Wildcats football, men's basketball, and baseball. This is the home of the Wildcats. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
And that's why I always come up with the best ideas.
All right, you had a good idea last month.
Yep, people really loved getting a brand new Alaskan AC Grizzly with 12 months, no payments, and no interest.
Plus a 10-year guarantee on parts and labor.
It was a good idea, Gary.
Bet you can't pull another rabbit out of your pants.
Hat.
Bet I can.
Bet you can't.
All right, settle down. Let's hear Gary's idea for this month.
Let's do it again.
Do it again? That's your idea?
Not good.
Not good? It's
brilliant.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Gross.
Give the people what they want.
Another month to get in on the best thing we do all year.
Folks can get the AC that was built for Arizona summers.
They can get it and make no payments until 2026.
And they're getting 10 years parts and labor covered.
Then it's settled. Alaskan AC is giving you another chance to get our exclusive made for Arizona air conditioner.
The Grizzly.
AlaskanAC.com.
DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
520-848-1290, 520-848-1290. Again, the number to get in on the program. You can call us at that number. You can text us at that number. The Phoenix Suns, they haven't been playing very well and struggling. And, guys are on the trade block for the team. I don't think Jusuf Nurkic played last night because he's one of the guys rumored to potentially be on the way out. But they did get a win last night over the Atlanta Hawks in the first of 3 games at home for the Suns. They've been on the road for a little bit of a stretch now, and they're back home to play some game. They played last night, and they'll play Saturday and Sunday at home. Big night for one Bradley Beal last night.
Durant on the drive and kick. Drops it off to Beal. Shot clock winding down. A beautiful baseline move. A little hesitation. And 13 starts at one time in the Suns uniform. Iguodaro takes the handoff. Cut up there. Finds Beal. Able to get free throw line extended.
Good pass there by Oso.
Was able to turn the body and block with what appeared to be his opposite hand. Booker touch pass. Straightaway look. Beal. Yes. The Congu downside. Beal fights him for inside position and steals it away. On a baseline pass, Hunter into the hands of Beal with a steal. Brad racing past Young, inside left-hand finish.
Trey Young had no chance.
Nice crossover on Capella. Finds Beal on the drive, drops it off to Allen. Touch with the corner 3. Yeah, and this guy is going to be looking to bait you into one. Beal nearly got the steal, hits the floor, comes up with it. Huge defensive play there. Tried to bait the official into the call, won't get it. And the Suns with a huge bounce back here on the home floor.
123-115, the Suns get the win. I think it was Wednesday. You were off, J-Dub, but we were talking, Dragon Ball and I were talking about the Suns a little bit, and we were talking about, we haven't really said Grayson Allen's name much this year, and lo and behold, we say that, and he all of a sudden returns with a 5-for-6 performance from behind the arc and scores 23 points. That was a lot of what we saw from him last year. I mean, him and Beal combined off the bench knocked down 7 threes for this team last night.
Yeah, I mean, I've always disliked Grayson Allen for 2 reasons. He went to Duke, and he's always kind of been a bit of a jerk on the court. At least he was before he matured a little bit, DK. But one thing I've noticed in his career going way back is that he's a bit of a streaky scorer. He always brings energy. He's actually a fairly decent on-ball defender. But as far as seeing those numbers, those 20, 25-point games, my experience, DK, is it's not really a regular thing. But you would think that in this offense with multiple threats at different positions that Grayson Allen could find a way. But looking at his numbers, this was the first 20-point game he's had this season. So
Wow.
he's not exactly lighting it up, not exactly I know he got the contract extension, right? So I'm not sure exactly what's going on, but he's shooting decently enough from three-point land. Last year, 46% was his number last year, down to 40. That's not sustainable. But I think you have to have shooters when you have guys. The problem I see with the big three with the Suns is they're a little too similar, those three guys. Like all of them are kind of trying to do the same thing, try to occupy the same space. There are a lot of mid-range stuff. Beal might try to get to the basket a little bit more than KD and Book. But when you talk about having three-level scorers, multiple three-level scorers, you really have to surround them. Like, why is Cleveland so good right now? Because Garland and Spider are those three-level scorers, and they're surrounded by shooters, right? Mobley has been given free reign to just cause terror off the bounce against guys who can't stay with him. That's why they've been so successful. The Suns are just lacking those extra other guys right now. To Nurkic's point, I mean, so many people in this fan base, DK, were overjoyed because they didn't want DeAndre Ayton here. He didn't give enough effort. He was, there one game, not there the next game. But one thing he did do is defend the perimeter quite well. He can move his feet really well against when he gets switched off against smaller players. Nurkic, not quite as good at that. So I'm not sure what's going on behind the scenes. We did hear from Bradley Beal today for the first time talking about coming off the bench. I don't know if we've heard anything from Jusuf Nurkic about his situation, what's going on there. But it's not a great look to have all these extracurriculars going on off court.
I thought I read that he did say, I think it was after the last road game in Charlotte. It might have been shoot around before yesterday's game that they met, him and Beal both met with the Suns brass, and they were assured that they weren't being shopped. I don't know if I necessarily believe that, but I think that's the only thing that we've heard from him per se. But as you mentioned, Bradley Beal did talk after last night's game. Let's hear from Beal about his new situation coming off the bench for the Suns.
Brad, as far as tonight, what was working for you as far as feel? Because this is second game you've had 25 since coming off the bench. What was the flow or feel for you tonight?
First, praise my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. It's just being me, just being aggressive, having fun with the game.
The other part of that is obviously you got a huge steal on DeAndre at the end, and the crowd reacted, and you've been known obviously for the offense, and you do defend. But how much was that gassed you up or made you feel like and to see the crowd react the way they did after making that play?
I don't pay attention to the reactions, but I definitely take pride in it. It's definitely a role that the team has implemented, for me, being more of a defender and taking on those tough matchups. And, I take pride in it, so I take pride in one-on-one matchups. I try not to let guys go directly by me. Like, if you're going to score, right, if you're going to score, you need a ball screen or a couple of screens, so, that's just a testament to who we are. We have to do that nightly.
When you look at the new role, what's kind of the biggest adjustment? Because I don't think you've come off the bench in like 8 years. So in terms of your approach or mentality, is there any adjustment?
Everything. Yeah. My preparation is totally different now. So.
How so?
It just is. You don't start the game off, so you gotta make sure that you're ready to go by the time your name is called. So.
What was your reaction when you guys had that conversation?
I literally looked at Coach and said, okay. I'm not going to argue. You made your decision. So it's up to Coach.
Is there a moment for you that's the weirdest part of coming off the bench? Is it like when lineups are introduced? Is it when like the game starts and you're not out there? What moment does it kind of kick in a bit?
Every moment. But again, I'm not going to be a distraction. I'm not going to be an asshole. I'm not going to be unprofessional. I'm going to do my job, do what I'm asked to do.
Do you take pride in the way that you're playing despite that extreme change you're talking about? Just with the level that you've played at despite this extreme change, I should phrase it as.
I always take pride in my game, like in who I am and what I do, and it's no different. I guess it's just more magnified because it's something that people are not used to seeing.
Book was talking about earlier that sometimes when all three of you, and I'm talking about you, him, and KD, that sometimes it was getting harder to space out the shot attempts and all that stuff. Do you think you coming off the bench gives you more of an option to be in the lead role, and that maybe in some ways this works better because you're not thinking about sharing the ball?
I'm just playing the game, brother. I don't think that deep into it.
Any nights this year where you've had 15 to 20 points off the bench. Tonight you had 56. Don't you think that's one of the reasons strategically why they might have moved you?
I don't know. You got to ask Bud these questions, man.
Did they not sit down and when they told you what
No.
they were going to do, they didn't explain why they were doing it?
You got to ask Bud.
Elliot, last one.
Brad, how have these last few days and even weeks been for you? Has this been one of the toughest kind of stretches, like psychologically, mentally for you at all, just with all the off-the-court noise?
Yes and no. I think it's been more of a distraction than anything. I wouldn't say bothersome. I mean, people are going to make their noise and have their opinion about certain things, you know. And I'm big in faith, you know. And for those who are big in faith with me, like 1 Corinthians 15:58. That's what got me through everything. So if you go read that, you'll probably understand why. Be's at peace. Be's in a good mode. Like, don't get wavered, man. Like, adversity happens, things happen. You control what you can control. Just try to impact being positive on a daily basis.
There you go, Bradley Beal, quoting his Bible verses. I think he said 1 Corinthians 15:50-58. I'll read that to you coming up a little bit later, just to let you know where his head is there.
It's so interesting, DK, when you have a long-time 8-10-year NBA starter and they're maybe asked to come off the bench later in their career, the way that players react to that is so different. Like, how many players have you just heard, I'm just here to help the team, right?
Yeah.
And now we're hearing all this talk about adversity. Like, this is somehow, what is he, 36, 35? I mean, with a very well-injured and whatever's best for the team. What did they lose, like 5 games in a row, which led to this decision?
Yeah.
I think ego is hard. When you're talking about professional athletes, I think there's only been 7,600 players to ever play in the NBA in the history of the league. So it's a very exclusive club. He's one of the top 150 scorers in NBA history, if you really want to break it down, to be asked to come off the bench. But, DK, I mean, some guys just say, I'm just here to do what the coach says. I'm just here to help the team win, whatever it takes. And other guys, this situation seems a little bit more personal, right? I mean, it seems like it's a slap in the face, or at least it's being taken that way, as opposed to maybe it's not working, maybe we need more offensive firepower off the bench. Whatever the decision-making is off, from the top brass, it's just such an interesting situation, so different from what you might hear from other players who are very comfortable. Jason Terry, was a starter for many years in Atlanta, very comfortable when he was putting that role off the bench, whatever I got to do to help the team win, that type of thing.
All right, next up, Utah on Saturday at 3 o'clock at the Footprint Center. Much more coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. We're going to talk some U of A football, as well as what the Tucson Fire Department is doing to help out with the wildfires in Los Angeles. That's coming up for you at 4:20. DK on the Sports Tip. Along with JW Madden, I'm David Kelly, Dragon Ball with the day off. Cricket will be back with you as well in the 4 o'clock hour with what is happening around Southern Arizona this weekend. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together. Collisions that are reported Broadway and Tucson Boulevard. Oro Valley, McGee, and Northern McGee west of Oracle at Northern, a hit and run. Ajo Way west of Country Club. Westbound I-10 frontage road near Cortero. Alvernon and Drexel, and also clearing Flowing Wells in Wetmore. Freeze warning in effect, 32 the low, 61 sunny tomorrow, and 60 on Sunday. 57 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather Together.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Perfect for instant contact with an aging parent. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com and you'll get an extra 60% off, free UPS shipping, and add code radio for an extra 5% off.
Why are we named Wildcats Radio 1290?
You want answers?
Because we outwork everyone else in town to bring you the very best coverage of the Cats. That's why we are the home of the Arizona Wildcats, the one and only Wildcats Radio 1290.
Sean Furrier for Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Our beautiful Arizona winter weather brings cooler overnight temperatures, which means some of you are now seeing your vehicle's low-pressure warning light. Colder overnight temperatures can lower your tire's pressure just enough to trigger a warning light. But don't worry, many times the solution is simply adding the correct amount of air to your tires. Then get back to enjoying the fantastic winter weather. If adding the air doesn't do the trick, stop by any of our 14-area Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care locations for a free tire inspection and air pressure check. And if you need help with the low pressure warning light, we fix those too. Mention this radio offer for free installation with the purchase of any new tire pressure sensor. We'll install it in your wheel and rebalance your tires absolutely free. You'll find even more specials to get your car road trip ready at jackfurriers.com. So call ahead, make an appointment online, or just drop by. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Since 1960, we're here to get you there.
Hey homeowners, are you ready to chill out and go green? Goodfellas Air Conditioning can help. Introducing our latest lineup of energy-efficient systems featuring the new R32 refrigerant. It's cooler, greener, and better for the planet. You'll enjoy lower energy bills and a smaller carbon footprint. Not a fan of change? Goodfellas has a surplus of reliable R410 systems available. Unsure about what system you have or have questions? Give us a call for a free inspection. Goodfellas Air Conditioning, keeping it cool, keeping it green, and always keeping you comfortable.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this. If something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
This Saturday, Arizona men's basketball welcomes UCF to McHale Center for a Big 12 showdown. Tip off at 8 p.m. with the Meridian Wealth Management Arizona game day starting at 4:30. Only on Wildcats Radio 1290.
Well, it's the first part of a new year, and some people are coming up with some pretty interesting New Year's resolutions.
I'm taking karate classes.
Hey, wait just a minute.
Let's get something really stupid tattooed on our butt.
Oh, I'm sorry. Why not make your New Year's resolution to always save up to 40% on your favorite tobacco products at Tobacco Barn? You'll not only save up to 40%, but there's also no city or state sales tax at Tobacco Barn because they're on the reservation.
I'm getting married to the first girl I meet. Hey there, sweetheart.
And you can save up to another $3 with a coupon at TobaccoBarnTucson.com.
Let's try parachuting. Geronimo!
So save up to 40%, save with no city or state sales tax, and save up to another $3 with a coupon at TobaccoBarnTucson.com. But maybe skip the skydiving. Tobacco Barn, Nogales Highway, just south of Valencia. Check TobaccoBarnTucson.com.
KCUB Tucson, Cumulus Media Station. The one and only home of the Jim Rome Show. Rich Eisen and DK on the Sports Tip.
Oh, game on. Did I say that? Sorry. Game on.
We are Wildcats Radio 1290. Live from the CNWT.
Wait, what's the CNWT? Central Northwest Tucson. Duh.
It's DK on the Sports Tip with your host, David Kelly.
Radio. Just when I thought I was out, they drug me back in.
Featuring J.W. Madden.
Don't tell me about flip-flops, man. I'm a native.
David Amata.
Hey, that's Dragon Ball to you.
And Cricket getting you home with traffic and weather.
Camp on Melt Lemon, not in the left lane on the freeway.
Here we go! And now, a man who has not one, but 3 first names, David Scott Kelly.
Hour number 2 on this Friday, leading you into the weekend. Hope you have a lot of fun in store. It's going to be a little bit cooler than normal, but it still should be sunny. At least all that wind that we were getting a couple of days ago went away. There was dust everywhere and cloudy. I think it rained a little bit. There was a little bit of wetness on my car in the late morning, or really mid part of the morning when I was driving around out there and all of that wind.
Saw like 2 or 3 inches up in Summerhaven.
Oh, wow. They got a lot up there. Is that snow?
Yeah, snow.
Yeah, snow. There you go. 1 hour, you can be up in the snow if you so choose to do that. 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. Yesterday, our question of the day was about the college football playoff. Great game last night. It got off to a little bit of a slow start. There wasn't much offense early on in that contest between Notre Dame and Penn State, and then it got going in the second half. And we've seen that with a number of games in this college football playoff where the two teams have kind of struggled early on to find their offensive footing, but then have kind of gotten things going in the second half.
That's kind of my biggest problem with this whole format, is that it used to be, DK, that you would have 3 or 4 weeks off before your big New Year's Day bowl game.
Right.
And the routine that you get from spring camp to fall camp to playing a game every week, having one bye, and how prepped you are with that, routine, the regimen that the players go through every single week to get prepped for the Saturday games. Now you're talking about some teams that are having 4, 5, 6 weeks off, and then you got to play, you got to play the biggest games of the year at that point. So, yeah, I mean, the old adage of, is it better to be the number one seed in the the playoffs? Baseball, how long do the teams have off of the end of the baseball season before they play if they're one of the top seeds? So, yeah, it's tough. I mean, I think you should expect. I think fans should expect a little bit of rust in maybe the first quarter before the players get their wits about them.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Obviously you're used to turnarounds like this, but not at this time of the year. And so,
think about it like this:
defenses are owning early.
All the teams that had a bye lost.
Yeah,
every single team that did not play in the first round of this college football playoff, they were upset in the quarterfinals.
And you've got Ohio State tonight against Texas. So last night, our question of the day was who was going to win last night. 90% of the people said Notre Dame, and that's what happened, although it was looking dicey there towards the end if you took Notre Dame. Of course, we had Mike Walsh from the Penn State Club on, local Penn State Club on. I'm sure that they were all disappointed by what happened at that interception. I was listening to it on the radio in the gym last night towards the end, and Dave Pasch, the voice of the Cardinals, was doing the play-by-play, and he was like, when Drew Allard threw that interception, he was like, what in the world is he doing? I mean, it was one of those calls by Drew Allard. You kind of felt for the kid because he had a tough game, but he had gotten them back and gotten Penn State ahead in the contest, but Notre Dame able to rally and tie the game, and then that interception put them right around midfield, and they were able to get themselves into field goal range to win the ball game. So tonight's question of the day is who's going to win tonight's game between Ohio State and Texas. Ohio State is the favorite in Dallas. Texas is home state. Right now, head on over to our Twitter account at Wildcats1290. Right now, 67% of you saying the Buckeyes are going to win tonight over the Longhorns. I'm going to miss that game because I'm going to the Yachtly Crew concert tonight. But I'm sure it will be a pretty exciting ball game, to say the least. So we could, again, a winner gets Notre Dame. Ohio State and Notre Dame, or Texas and Notre Dame. One of those two. But head on over right now to Twitter, Wildcats1290. Vote in our poll. Who wins tonight's game? Who do you think wins tonight, J-Dub?
Well, like I said the other day, I think Texas's defense, I watched pretty much that whole game versus the School Up North. I really like the way their defense is playing, but Ohio State's just flying. Their skill position guys, as per the usual, right? I mean, what year in my lifetime has Ohio State not have some of the speediest skill position players in the entire country? I don't know, man. It's tough. Two really good teams. I really like the way Texas's defense is playing right now. I think if Texas's offense can put, 30 points on the board, I think I like the Longhorns. But if their offense looked like it did versus the School Up North, I think Ohio State wins, comfortably.
All right, I got a BetQL top play coming up a little bit later in this hour for you on that. I want to go back to we heard from Bradley Beal at the end of the last half hour, and I want to play this last part. He during his press conference when we'll play the whole thing when he talked about where he's his mindset is coming off the bench now for the Suns. Let's hear this.
How have these last few days and even weeks been for you? Has this been one of the toughest kind of stretches, like psychologically, mentally for you at all, just with all the off-the-court noise?
Yes and no. I think it's been more of a distraction than anything. I wouldn't say bothersome. I mean, people are going to make their noise and have their opinion about certain things, you know. And I'm big in faith, you know. And for those who are big in faith with me, like 1 Corinthians 15:58. That's what got me through everything. So if you go read that, you'll probably understand why. Be's at peace. Be's in a good mode. Like, don't get wavered, man. Like, adversity happens. Things happen. You control what you can control. Just try to impact being positive on a daily basis.
So 1 Corinthians 15, chapter 15, verse 58 goes as follows. Therefore, my dear brothers and sisters, stand firm. Let nothing move you. Always give yourself fully to the work of the Lord, because you know that your labor in the Lord is not in vain. That is 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 58, one that Bradley Beal has been leaning on over the course of the last few weeks to get him through the noise that has surrounded the Suns, moving him from the starting lineup onto the bench. But he has responded with 2 25-point games. And the Suns have, like, keep wanting to call them the Wildcats. The Suns have won 2 of the last 3 since they made this move. We'll see if that can continue with games on Saturday and Sunday. We've got Lowry Markkinen and company coming to town on Saturday for a day game, and then the homestand will wrap up with a contest on Sunday night against the Charlotte Hornets, the rematch against LaMelo Ball and company. So that's 2 games you should win. That's 2 games you should win to get back to 500, heading out on what's going to be a long road trip. 5 games to Atlanta, D.C., Detroit, Cleveland, and Brooklyn to get you to mid-next week. That's a lot of games in a lot of days, really, when you think about it. Starting with that game on Sunday, you're essentially going to play 5 games in 7 days starting next week, or really 5 games in 8 days starting next week. So that's a lot of basketball back to back to back to back to back for this team.
So Bradley Beal, people may not know this, but is one of the top. He's almost in the top 100 in the NBA history of points scored. DK. He's 112th in total points scored. So when you hear him talk about being demoted to the bench as being a trial for him personally, it's really just that. I mean, you spend your whole life trying to get to college, spend your whole life, in college trying to impress scouts enough to get drafted, and then you just try to keep your place. And if you're one of the elites, like he has always been in his time, you expect to put up your 20 and 8 every single night, right? And the worrisome thing about Bradley Beal is his mentals when it comes to 5 consecutive years where he didn't finish the season due to injury. That can weigh on you as well. The splintered locker room thing, DK, it happens so fast. I mean, we're not really privy to conversations going on player to player behind the scenes, but it just seemed like this year started out with so much promise. KD being injured, right? What was the stat? 14-1 with KD in the lineup, 1-9 without him in the lineup. It's just been, I think they expected to be in the top 4 seeds right now in the Western Conference, and they're under 500. And the whole group feels that, right?
Yeah.
And that's where we're at. And I think if the team plays better with Beal off the bench, I mean, everybody involved should just see it as just that, as this is working. We needed the scoring punch. Dunn gives us a better option as a quick, able-bodied 20-year-old to guard some of the quicker defenders. Whatever the mindset might be behind that decision-making, it seems to be working. They won 2 out of 3, right?
2 out of 3. And he scored 25 in each of those games. So let's see how that continues moving forward. 520-848-1290, 520-848-1290. To get on that conversation, what do you think about the Suns? How are you feeling about them at 17-19 after 36 games? We're almost to the turning point of the season. 82 games, 41, still 5 to play. joined by the third member of our program, Cricket.
Hi.
What time is it? It is the weekend. Woo! Our first. So, can I tell you what my wife said?
What?
My wife, she gets every other Friday off.
Oh, lucky.
But she had last Friday off.
Mm-hmm.
But she basically just said, I'm not ready to work 5 days in a row.
Right. After the holidays, who is?
So she kind of switched with somebody so she could have this Friday off.
Well, because you guys have a big night tonight.
Yeah, we're going to see Yachtly Crew down at the Rialto. It's going to be fun.
Yes.
Gonna get crazy.
Yeah, it's so this will be, I think, it's weird. It's really weird because this will be the 5th time I think I've seen them. So it's like I never really had like a cover band that I would go see routinely.
I don't think I've seen any band 5 times live.
Yeah.
Let alone a cover band 5 times live.
Right. And so this is the 5th time I've gone to see them. I hope that now we saw them in Vegas last summer, and I didn't think that show was great. The acoustics were my theory. I think I remember I told you my theory. My theory was that the lead singer didn't have a good voice that night.
It just was an off night.
Yeah, so they had his mic down, so you couldn't really hear him when he was singing. And I'm like, why can I hear? Because some songs you could hear perfectly, like when he was just talking. But then in songs when he was singing, it was like you could hardly hear him. So that was just my theory, was that maybe he doesn't have the voice tonight, and they're just keeping his mic down to protect him.
Yeah, that could be.
Yeah.
Everyone has a bad day.
Yeah.
You know,
it's like sports. You can't go out there and throw 5 touchdown passes every game, right?
Every time.
Sometimes
right.
the head coach comes into a post-game press conference and you can hear them clearly, and sometimes you can't understand anything they're saying because they've been yelling
all night. Yeah, exactly. So hopefully the concert will be back on point with what we've seen from Yachtly Crew the other 3 times that I've seen them.
If not, they're going to get less than a 5-star review on Yelp.
They might. Right? You know, when you got people with a microphone that are coming to the shows,
I mean,
they might be want to talk about it on Monday.
I bet you Yachtly Crew has gotten more free publicity from this local sports network than they have from any other local sports show.
I got to get them
America.
on the show next time. I thought about that on Wednesday. I was like, I should call their booker. We get them on the show next time they come through town. What else is happening this weekend here in Tucson?
Well, if you did not get enough of the holidays during the holidays, you can get some more this weekend. Lights Up, a festival of illumination through Sunday evening at Tucson Botanical Gardens.
Have you been to that?
I think I went maybe a couple years ago.
Okay.
But not this year.
I've never been to that.
It's amazing.
I wanted to go this year, and we just never got there.
Yeah, and they also, at Tucson Botanical Gardens, they're doing butterfly magic.
Ooh.
So you can check out the cool butterflies. Tomorrow is Bark in the Barrio at Armory Park with Pima Animal Care Center. There will be dog adoptions, food trucks, and music and games tomorrow at Armory Park, 11 a.m. till 2 p.m. And just another reminder, we were just talking about it, Yachtly Crew is tonight at the Rialto Theater.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta love it.
Are you going to wear your captain's cap?
I don't have one.
Oh,
no,
what?
I don't actually have. I like one of the concerts when I saw them at Ava Amphitheater. I think that was 2 summers ago. My wife was out of town, so I wore hers.
Oh,
but I don't have my own yet. So I've been trying to I gotta get like my own gear. I want kind of something like, I don't know if I want a cap or just something else that's kind of, sail ship kind of boat kind of boaty, as I like to say.
Like maybe like a white jacket or something?
Yeah,
with
something like that, like a jacket, or maybe like something like a pull-around sweater or something. I don't know. I don't know what I want. But yeah, I gotta get something to wear, something kind of cool to wear when I go to these shows.
Well, yeah, you should. You've been to so many.
I have. It's going to be fun tonight. So if you're down there at Yachtly Crew tonight, look for me, say hello. We're going to be pre-gaming, I think, a bit over at the playground. So stop in there before the show and have a drink with us, because maybe I'll buy you one. Maybe you can buy me.
You're gonna be on the roof with a coat, or you're gonna be inside?
I don't know if I'm gonna be on the rooftop tonight. Now, and unless there's a heater available.
I'm sure there is. No, I'm sure there is.
All right,
for sure.
Cricket is gonna be back with us again next hour with a few more things that you can get in trouble with this weekend here in Southern Arizona. Right now, she's got your traffic and weather.
And from the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio, 1290 traffic and weather together. Backups southbound La Cholla at Ajo, more slowing at Mission and Ajo for southbound and westbound, and the southbound I-19 frontage road approaching Irvington for more backups. Collisions that are reported. Northbound I-19 at the Irvington off-ramp, Los Reales and Nogales Highway. Flowing Wells near Miracle Mile, and also Broadway and Tucson Boulevard. Freeze warning in 32, the overnight low. 61, sunny tomorrow, 60 on Sunday, and 56 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio, 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Progressive makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your motorcycle, RV, boat, ATV, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at Progressive.com. That's Progressive.com.
What makes 1290 different than any other radio station in Tucson? 1290 is the home of the Arizona Wildcats, the NFL, and the Super Bowl. Winner! This is Wildcats Radio 1290.
Hey homeowners, are you ready to chill out and go green? Goodfellas Air Conditioning can help. Introducing our latest lineup of energy-efficient systems featuring the new R32 refrigerant. It's cooler, greener, and better for the planet. You'll enjoy lower energy bills and a smaller carbon footprint. Not a fan of change? Goodfellas has a surplus of reliable R410 systems available. Unsure about what system you have or have questions? Give us a call for a free inspection. Goodfellas Air Conditioning, keeping it cool, keeping it green, and always keeping you comfortable.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this. If something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
Premium, by definition, a product of superior quality and therefore a higher price. SweetDeals.com's new Premium tab is here to break all the rules. Premium products without the extra cost. Designer handbags, luxury cruises, autographed sports memorabilia, gift cards to your favorite eateries, stores, and more. Priced up to 70% off. Premium just got affordable to all. Shop, score, save. Up to 70% off. SweetDeals.com. Click on the Premium tab and reward yourself today.
And that's why I always come up with the best ideas.
All right, you had a good idea last month.
Yep, people really loved getting a brand new Alaskan AC Grizzly with 12 months, no payments, and no interest.
Plus a 10-year guarantee on parts and labor.
It was a good idea, Gary.
Bet you can't pull another rabbit out of your pants.
Hat.
Bet I can.
Bet you can't.
All right, settle down. Let's hear Gary's idea for this month.
Let's do it again.
Do it again? That's your idea?
Not good.
Not good? It's
brilliant.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Gross.
Give the people what they want.
Another month to get in on the best thing we do all year.
Folks can get the AC that was built for Arizona summers.
They can get it and make no payments until 2026.
And they're getting 10 years parts and labor covered.
Then it's settled. Alaskan AC is giving you another chance to get our exclusive made for Arizona air conditioner.
The Grizzly.
AlaskanAC.com.
Don't miss a minute of the best Arizona Wildcats coverage in town. Tell Alexa, play Wildcats Radio 1290. This is your home of Arizona football, men's basketball, and baseball. Wildcats Radio 1290.
I'm Taylor Bisciotti with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. Jalen Hurts was back on the practice field for the first time Thursday since suffering a concussion Week 16. Meantime, Packers quarterback Jordan Love was also a full participant in practice for the first time since suffering an elbow injury last week. Green Bay faces the Eagles Sunday. The Raiders fired general manager Tom Telesco Thursday after one full season, just 2 days after firing head coach Antonio Pierce following a 4-13 season. The Falcons benched Kirk Cousins in favor of rookie Michael Penix for the last 3 games of the regular season, but Atlanta may not be ready to move on from Cousins. General Manager Terry Fontenot saying the team wouldn't hesitate to bring him back next season and added, Kirk is a great man and he's been very great support for Mike. We are very comfortable moving forward with him as the backup. Cousins signed a 4-year contract worth up to $180 million prior to the 2024 season. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
Life insurance. Why are you putting it off? Can't afford it? Too much hassle? Think you don't need it? There's lots of excuses for putting off life insurance. But if you weren't there, who would pay the mortgage and other bills? With Ethos, you could be covered in 10 minutes and boom, family protected. Ethos, fast and easy online term life insurance. Up to $2 million in coverage with no medical exam. Some policies as low as $1 a day. Answer a few health questions and get your free quote at tryethos.com. That's tryethos.com.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. You can call us at that number. You can text us at that number. We've been talking a little bit about the wildfires that have been going on in Southern California, devastating wildfires, a whole entire community, one of the most beautiful communities in Southern California, went up in flames earlier this week. There are still wildfires burning in the area. Tucson Fire Department has dispatched some of their own to Southern California to try to help with these blazes. We're pleased to be joined by the legendary Barrett Baker, Arizona football, Tucson Fire, joining us now. First of all, Barrett, what's your now official title? Are you still battalion chief, or are you higher than that now?
Oh, I joined the dark side, DK, and I just moved up administratively to the deputy chief position. So I'm part of a great team that is working with the operations squad now, almost 25 years into this thing. So lucky to be part of TFD for sure.
So you are deputy chief now. So how many deputy chiefs are there? Is that one rung down below chief, or are there multiple deputy chiefs?
Just part of a great team of 640 people. And we've got the fire chief and 3 assistant chiefs. And then there's about 7 DCs and 12 BCs. But again, we're all part of the same mission here and just lucky to be doing it.
There you go. There you go. So, Barrett, obviously, when you guys begin to hear about the situation that's happening in Los Angeles, what's the first course? Are you just kind of monitoring it? Are you guys seeing what's happening there? And at what point does the process begin that you guys start talking about, should we send people out there to help? Do they ask you, hey, does Los Angeles County send out and say a thing saying, hey, we need help, whoever can come help? How does that whole process work?
Sure. We've got a dedicated team within Tucson Fire Department that is part of our wildland team. And that might consist, let's say, of 10 members. And they have the certification. So on a year-round basis, they're doing trainings, and they're actively getting deployed throughout generally the western United States. So this is not necessarily the prime wildland season. This is technically an off-season. But that being said, your training and your resources and all of those things, you have to be ready 365. In this particular case, and it's just devastating. I heard the words that you used earlier. Mother Nature is a powerful, in this particular case, opponent. And when you see the video footage, and Santa Ana winds have been around forever, but when you see how quickly something goes from a football field to an entire city, and just destroying it, then obviously you're behind from the get-go. So trying to get resources, from the western states, so to speak, and get them to that particular area. You have the aerial components of it with all of the airplanes and the helicopters. The wildland firefighting, you cut line and try to stop the forward progress, so to speak. But again, 100-mile-an-hour winds. If you were on an alphabet, if that fire starts at A by the time you're notified, it's already at M, and by the time you get there, you're at Z, and then it just keeps going. And so it's a real challenge. You take a look at all of the firefighters and the resources that they have to throw at something like that, but then what happens? You have 3 fires. And so now geographically you're being strained. The fires themselves, if it's on a hillside, how do you get water on something like that when it comes to this hand line? So fuel, weather, topography, all of these terms that we use in the fire service, they all have an impact. And unfortunately, sometimes it just takes that break with those winds dying down to where you can actually even make a dent in something like this.
We're chatting with Deputy Chief Barrett Baker of the Tucson Fire Department. And so how many folks are you guys sending out there? And are they out there already? And what's kind of their assignment? How do they work within the groups of firefighters that are already on the scene?
And it's a great question. So we sent a crew of 4 out there on our brush truck. And so, again, it's not like you're driving in a Corvette over there. So when you're taking a fire department apparatus, your travel time takes a little bit longer. They arrived 2 days ago, and it's about a 2-week deployment for them. So their initial thing was to arrive north of San Diego, and they were basically being ready to backfill some of those frontline personnel and apparatus that were getting called up to the hot spots. But those particular assignments, quite frankly, whatever they were doing yesterday might have changed 2 times over the course of 12 or 24 hours. And that's just because of the fact that it's such a dynamic situation with the number of fires and where those hot spots are and where the wind is going and pushing those fires. So right now, the last that I say it in all seriousness, communications is difficult because of the fact that the plan is for them to be here, and then 12 hours later they're somewhere else completely. So again, it's just the complexity, and it's not new. It's been something that's been going on since the 1970s. When you take it like a look at our incident command structure, and it's highly organized. But in that same vein, there are so many different pieces to it, from operations to planning to logistics to administration, and where do we factor into that? So we've got folks there that are hopefully helping out in one of those 5 components of it, and we're just hoping that they are safe and that they have the ability to minimize any further damage for these poor families that are going through a living hell right now.
And in terms of the number of people that you send over there, do people volunteer for that? Do you select those people? How does that work?
With Tucson Fire, and I don't want to speak on behalf of our neighboring agencies, but Northwest Fire and some of our close Tucson ties, we have a team that is specifically part of our wildland program. So without getting too much into the weeds, being a structural firefighter, the strategies and tactics that we use might be different than, say, a wildland firefighter. So that particular group of, say, 10 or 12, 16 on our job, they're able to do both of those. But again, the flexibility of that to be able to deploy on a 3-hour notice and be gone for 2 weeks, there's some sacrifices, and I don't want to what term I'm using there. Obviously, there's got to be some flexibility would be the better term there. So those wildland firefighters that are employed by TFD, tip of the cap to them. They work on this 365 days a year, and you hope to minimize those deployments, because if you're getting deployed, that means that we've got some really large incidents. And so we were just hoping that we can get over there and make a dent in this.
Yeah, that's interesting, Barrett. I don't know maybe if a lot of people really understand the dynamics of that. I think when we think firefighter, we think, firefighters can fight all kinds of fires, that there's different, elements that are involved with, fighting a building fire or a house fire versus obviously being out there on the land, and we hear the familiar term hot shots and what they do out there in grasslands and forests and all of that kind of thing. You said you're in terms of the Tucson Fire, you have a small group of folks that do that. Is that customary for most of the fire departments in Arizona? Like, if I'm in a place where there's not wildfires, would they even have those types of tactical wildfire units?
That's really, truth be told, DK, that's kind of dependent upon each of those agencies, because again, without getting too much in the weeds, but I mean, if we deploy somebody or we deploy a team of 4 or 8 folks, then that means that we have to backfill those 4 or 8 at the same time. And so it's for some of the smaller departments, if they don't have the ability, just from a personnel number standpoint, to really backfill their existing spots, then you can see how that can be a little bit of a challenge. So, when you're maybe, I know that the Pace and Hot Shots, and Heber, Overguard, there are obviously several agencies that are experts, nationally recognized in doing this. And that's, dare I say, that's their business. That's what they're good at, and that's what they're called to do oftentimes. So with Tucson Fire, if we have 640 personnel and roughly 510 that are in operations, 170 every single day based across 22 different fire stations, then that's what our primary focus is, obviously, is to deal with the 105,000 calls that came in last year. So the training, the expertise, and the hours that are necessary to stay up to date and certified in those wildland components, it is a little bit different. And I wouldn't say that there's a strain, but each department does have to make that decision as to whether they have the personnel to dedicate to it.
We're chatting with Deputy Chief Barrett Baker from the Tucson Fire Department, U of A football captain from the 12-1 team in 1998. Barrett, are we seeing, and obviously we've had a number of wildfires here in the state of Arizona over the course of the last few summers. I mean, I go back to obviously to the COVID summer and the Bighorn Fire, which raged for weeks here in southern Arizona. Are we seeing more wildfires now than we have in the past?
Tough historical question. My hunch would say no, and that's just. But I'll throw this caveat to that. In this particular case, I don't know if they've come up with a particular cause yet. But drought conditions. I mean, I can go all the way back to the Rodeo Chetaskai Fire from 25 years ago. And the impact that had up in Show Low and up in the White Mountains. And so it's one of those things. Are they lightning caused? Are they human caused? We're always going to try to minimize the human-caused fires. And, it could be something so simple as a vehicle driving down the freeway that has a towing something, and if their chain is too long and it sparks on the freeway and then sends some sparks over into the brush and catches, the side of the freeway on fire. I mean, there's no shortage of reasons that fires are caused between someone throwing a cigarette out the window. So you could really come up with so many reasons behind it. And I guess that's our real focus, is to just make sure that in Tucson, and we use different terminologies. It used to be defensible space, and now we're talking about wildland urban interface. You just want to make sure that you don't have a lot of stuff around your house that, heaven forbid, in March and April, when we get our red flag warnings in Tucson and we get winds upwards of between 30 and 60 miles an hour, that if that fire that starts somewhere else doesn't blow right into your area, that's kind of what our hope is that we can prevent that sort of thing.
Barry, what made you fall in love with this field?
Well, since you've tied in the football, Rich Ellerson in 1998 was our defensive coordinator. I was a kid that was getting ready to graduate, and I was studying finance, and there was certainly no passion to that. No offense to all the finance majors out there. And he actually introduced me to a gentleman that's very, very well recognized and well respected in the fire department named Les Cade. And he was a battalion chief that worked for Tucson Fire. I went down and spoke with him for about 4 hours, and that was that. So 25 years later, here we are. Keola Antolin is one of our more recent Wildcats that obviously played under Coach Stoops. And he joined the department about 3 years ago. And
wow, yeah.
We're always looking for the next wave of Wildcats to be part of this family.
That's interesting because we during the season we talked to Trevin
Joey
Wade,
Kaplan,
who said that he's looking to get into the fire industry up in the Phoenix area as well. So it seems to be one obviously that is a draw for young men that have played athletics at a high level. For sure. Can you hold on for a few more minutes, Barrett? I'd like to just talk some football with you as well.
Yeah, absolutely so, Dave. Thanks.
All right, let's get a break in here. We'll come back. We'll talk some more with Deputy Chief Barrett Baker from the Tucson Fire Department and get his thoughts on some of the recent things that have transpired with Arizona football, some new hires, including one of his former teammates taking over on the defensive line as well. It is DK on the Sports Tip. Cricket is getting you home every 20 minutes on the fives with your traffic and your weather.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather together. Collisions that are reported Irvington near I-19 on Irvington west of I-19, Oro Valley, Lambert Lane west of Pushview Lane, and a crash reported on Grant Road east of I-10. Got some backup slowdowns southbound on Keno approaching Benson Highway. Some more slowdowns Ajo and Mission southbound westbound travel, and some slowing on southbound I-19, light slowing approaching Irvington. And for your weather, there is a freeze warning in effect overnight, lows near 32, 61, sunny tomorrow, 60 on Sunday, and 57 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather together.
This report is sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Progressive makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your motorcycle, RV, boat, ATV, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at Progressive.com. That's Progressive.com.
DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
All right, we are chatting with the Barrett Baker, a U of A football captain from the class of 1998 and deputy chief of the Tucson Fire Department. Tucson Fire is going to be, or has sent, I should say, a number of folks out to Southern California to help with the wildfires, and we'll tell you how you can help as well coming up just a little bit later. Wanted to get back with Barrett for some football talk, though. Barrett, Joe Salavea back in the family, man. That was some great news to hear yesterday.
That's one of those bear down for life, and you know we hear a lot about this, and I think with the fan base, and I understand both sides of it, but there's a lot of folks that basically say they don't care in any capacity whether you're an alum or not. They just want a good football coach. But when you have a case like Joe where you get two for the price of one, it's all the better, because the guy was a stud on the field, and he has now become a stud in the profession and worked at some major college programs and learned a lot along the way. He played in the NFL. He was coached by NFL coaches. Started off, obviously, in the NCAA coaching. But when you look at working at Arizona, working at Washington State, working at Oregon, working at Miami, the guy has had a positive impact in every spot that he's been, and I'm really, really excited. I think he's going to be a big addition to our program.
When you look at, obviously, some of the things, the retooling, bringing in Seth Dagey to take over on the offensive side of the ball, what do you like about some of these the retools that Coach Brennan has made with his staff as they try to move this thing forward and really rebound from the rough season they had in the first year?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, last year was there isn't a metric that you could throw out from last year that wasn't disappointing. And I mean, I'm a fan first, and you know what I mean. I'm a former player, but I'm a fan at this point in time, and I'm pulling for the kids in the locker room and those coaches that bust their butts all the time to try to put a winning program. And when things don't go the right way, then it's literally about what can we do to get things corrected. And that really starts with making sure that you're comfortable with the systems that you have in place on both sides. I think obviously the offensive struggles last year, again, we could come up with a myriad of excuses, and I believe that there's plenty of excuses, as in offensive line continuity and injuries on the defense, and a lot of reasons behind it. I think that we had a strong group of about 15 starters, or I should say 11 starters times 2 is 22. There was no depth on that squad. And so then when you start getting hit by the injury bug and you're playing second and third string guys, that would be like winning championships with me instead of Chris McAllister. It wouldn't happen. You got to have the Chris McAllisters. You got to have the Kelvin Efons. And so we're not standing idly by. And when I say we, meaning the coaching staff and Coach Brent Brennan, and bringing in somebody that has proven it. Regardless of whether it's Marshall, Coach Dagey and his system and his ability to have played at a high level at Texas Tech, studied under Mike Leach, tweak the air raid to where now he can do a lot of different things with it. That gives you excitement on that side of the ball. And then obviously to shore up the fact that, do we have the quality depth that is needed to win championships? And that's where football is so very, very different today than it was, 3, 5, 10 years ago with the transfer portal. So defensively, listen, I'm a homer. There isn't anyone that could convince me otherwise that there's not a better coach on the planet than Dwayne Aquina. But that being said, when you lose the number of folks that we lost, first of all, to graduation and the transfer portal in your front 9, the 9 guys that we lost, and then during the season, when you lose the guys on the back end, it was just a recipe for disaster. But Danny Gonzalez, look, you can cut through all of the statistics and this and that. He was a great coach as a defense coordinator at San Diego State, and the numbers support that. When he went to Arizona State, their scoring defense was like 103rd before him. His first year, it went to 50th. His second year, it went to 35th or something. I believe in that. If we give him the players to execute the scheme, then between those 2 guys and Joe coming in on the front, that defense is not going to be out-schemed. I can promise you that.
Who wins the national championship?
I would probably say tonight, I would think Ohio State is based off last week's game with Texas and ASU. They just didn't look I didn't think Texas looked consistent enough. So I would say that Ohio State is going to be the favorite between those 2. And then I just love Marcus Freeman. I think he's the kind of guy that there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be lucky to play for him over the next coming years. And I would be hard-pressed to pull against him just on a personal level. I think he's a great guy.
Yeah, I think their running game and their defense, I think that might be the difference. I've said it for a few weeks now. I think Notre Dame is the team to beat for sure. Barrett, hey, we appreciate you. Keep us up to date on everything that's happening over there and the folks that are over there in Los Angeles. And we definitely hope that they get the job done and get home safely to their loved ones. And we always, again, thank every one of you over there at Tucson Fire that are doing the work and protecting our communities. And we thank you as always.
Appreciate the well wishes, DK. Stay safe. Happy New Year. And bear down as always.
There you go. Barrett Baker, Deputy Chief Barrett Baker, Tucson Fire Department, UA football captain, 1998, right alongside our own Kelvin Ifan. Let's get a break in. We'll come back. Our top plays from BetQL. That is next. DK on the Sports Tip, Wildcats Radio 1290.
And the Wildcats have won it. What a day at McHale Center. What's the best part of being at McHale Center live for Arizona basketball? Being right up against the action, witnessing history, and not only watching the game, but feeling that. Join the party because the place to be in Tucson is McHale Center with 15,000 of your closest Wildcat friends. Help your Wildcats protect home court and lock in your tickets today. Call 520-621-2287 or visit ArizonaWildcats.com. Bear down, go Cats.
And that's why I always come up with the best ideas.
All right, you had a good idea last month.
Yep, people really loved getting a brand new Alaskan AC Grizzly with 12 months, no payments, and no interest.
Plus a 10-year guarantee on parts and labor.
It was a good idea, Gary.
Bet you can't pull another rabbit out of your pants.
Hat.
Bet I can.
Bet you can't.
All right, settle down. Let's hear Gary's idea for this month.
Let's do it again.
Do it again? That's your idea?
Not good.
Not good? It's
brilliant.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Gross.
Give the people what they want.
Another month to get in on the best thing we do all year.
Folks can get the AC that was built for Arizona summers.
They can get it and make no payments until 2026.
And they're getting 10 years parts and labor covered.
Then it's settled. Alaskan AC is giving you another chance to get our exclusive made for Arizona air conditioner.
The Grizzly.
AlaskanAC.com.
Did you miss the big game? We got you covered.
There were a lot of people who were not happy with the performance by the team. Longest current winning streak in the country. Won by double digits on a night they could not convert a third down.
Yeah, holding two thoughts in your brain simultaneously that can both be true is tough for some people.
Yes.
You can both be disappointed in the third down conversion rate and also be supportive and overjoyed to see the head coach celebrate it. Both can be true.
DK on the Sports Tip, 3 to 6 weekdays.
Ever have one of those days where your gut just feels blah?
Ugh, yes.
Occasional bloating or gas could be signs that your gut is out of balance. But Align Probiotic can help. Align 24/7 Digestive Support is a daily use probiotic with a unique strain to help relieve occasional digestive issues. It's the #1 doctor-recommended brand. So when you feel the signs, it's time to try Align. Align Probiotic. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting great candidates? It seems impossible to find them. Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go. ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hey homeowners, are you ready to chill out and go green? Goodfellas Air Conditioning can help. Introducing our latest lineup of energy-efficient systems featuring the new R32 refrigerant. It's cooler, greener, and better for the planet. You'll enjoy lower energy bills and a smaller carbon footprint. Not a fan of change? Goodfellas has a surplus of reliable R410 systems available. Unsure about what system you have or have questions? Give us a call for a free inspection. Goodfellas Air Conditioning, keeping it cool, keeping it green, and always keeping you comfortable.
This is Zach Gelb with the Sports Minute, sponsored by AutoZone. Get in the zone, AutoZone. We all know that James Franklin can't win a big game, but last night wasn't on him. The main reason Penn State won't be playing for a national championship on January 20th is because of quarterback Drew Aller. Aller's previous mistakes were bailed out by the officials, but even the Zebras couldn't help him out after a terrible interception late in the game last night that led to Notre Dame's game-winning field goal. So yes, James Franklin still can't win a big game, but this time I can't blame him. I'm Zach Gelb.
COVID-19 has cast a spotlight on the stark inequalities that drive poverty. The poorest communities in the U.S. and around the world are suffering the most. Oxfam believes we can put systems in place to protect health and livelihoods in the future if we work together with dignity and compassion. Learn how you can help offer safety to the most vulnerable and fight for a more resilient future at oxfamamerica.org. Sponsored by Oxfam America.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why, when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
All right, time now for your BetQL play of the day. This BetQL top play is brought to you locally by Oral Ford at 3950 West Highway 77 in Oracle.
Brad Evans here to help you beat the bugs with BetQL. College football semifinals kick off again tonight with a clash between the Texas Longhorns and the Ohio State Buckeyes. These defensive powerhouses rank first and second in points allowed across all of college football. BetQL thinks the total is set way too high. That's why Ohio State versus Texas under 53 is a 5-star best bet. Bet smarter and beat the books. Download the BetQL and BetMGM apps today.
The New Year's Eve parties may be over, but at Oro Ford, the savings are worth celebrating. Get up to $12,000 off new 2024 Ford Expeditions, or save $10,000 off select new 2024 Ford F-150s. And Oro Ford is the only dealer with 0 dealer add-ons and 0 city sales tax. Just take the easy drive from anywhere in Tucson to join the savings celebration at Oro Ford. Restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
All right, that number, there must be a lot of bets coming in on the over-under for tonight's game because that number has now gone down at the Desert Diamond Casino Hotel, which is Sportsbook, which is where we want you to make and place all your bets. Download their app today. Is at 52 right now. So the over-under right now is at 52, but the play is still to take the under on that in tonight's Ohio State-Texas game. Now, here's how we're doing this. We've been tracking our BetQL plays, and we're going to do this as if it's baseball. Okay, so we're going to track them 162 bets at a time. That's kind of just like, when I started doing this, I was like, where should I stop and start again? And I was like, well, let's just do it as baseball because that'll give us a full, long ledger to look at. So right now we've got the last two plays for this particular cycle are going to be tonight. So Ohio State and Texas under 52 right now at the Desert Diamond Casino. And then the other play that we're going to take tonight is in the NBA, and that is the Knicks +4 over the Thunder tonight. So the Knicks +4 over the Thunder. I think it's now gone to 4.5. So you're getting the Knicks in 4.5 now at the Desert Diamond Casino. That'll put us at 162 bets in this cycle. Right now, we're 91-69. So that was another reason why, because I know, what's a good baseball team? A good baseball team wins 90-plus games. 90. I always say you got to win at least 93 to guarantee yourself a spot in the postseason. So if we win both these games tonight, we're going to be at 93-69 for this 162.
How's our middle relief looking, though?
Well, okay, it must be pretty good.
If we're going to the playoffs.
Yeah, if we're going to the playoffs, we've got a good bullpen. We've got a good bullpen. That's for sure. So those are your two final bets, and then we'll turn it over with the two NFL games we're going to give you. So these will be our first two plays in the next cycle. They only gave us two this week on the 6 games. Broncos +8.5 over the Bills. So they like Bo Nix to go in there and keep it close in cold Buffalo. And then the other game is the Ravens and the Steelers under 43.5. Ravens, Steelers under 43.5. Broncos +8.5 over the Bills. Those are your two NFL plays that we've got for Super Wildcard Weekend. So take those and do with them what you want. We got a couple more wins last night. That's why we're going to maybe get to 93. We had Notre Dame. We talked about that. Notre Dame on the money line last night at -114. That paid off. And we also, in college basketball, had Purdue -3.5 over Rutgers. They went in there and stomped the Scarlet Knights by 18 points in that ball game. The Boilermakers are one of the best three-point shooting teams in the country this year at 40%, but they only made 4 out of 24 last night. They killed it, though, from 2. They made 24 of 32 two-point field goals last night in that game to dominate in Piscataway. I think that's where Rutgers is, if I'm not mistaken. That's 75% from inside the arc. That's
what happens when your team is led by freshmen?
Yeah.
You're inconsistent.
Yeah.
I mean, Rutgers probably maybe has the best freshman outside of Cooper Flagg in the entire country.
Harper Jr.
What's that?
Harper?
Yeah. Dylan Harper is amazing. But they're very up and down, 8-8 on the season.
Yeah. So good on Purdue. They're playing pretty well now. I think they won 4 games in a row in the Big Ten Conference. All right.
I don't like looking at this box score. Braden Smith, Fletcher Lawyer, oh man,
yeah,
those
right.
guys
brings back some bad memories from last year.
They just could not miss last year.
No, not at all. All right, DK on the Sports Tip coming up at the 5 o'clock hour. We're going to talk a little bit of high school football as well. There's been some changes, some teams going up, some teams going down, some teams that wanted to alter their placements, and we're told, nope, you're staying where you want to be. The one that really stands out to me is Canyon Del Oro football is going from 4A now to 5A. So they're going up, and they're separating them from Micah Mountain. That's a little disappointing just because I thought that that could be a really nice rivalry here for a number of years with those two teams battling it out year in and year out potentially for a chance to go to the state finals, but they're going to move CDO up to 5A. That could be a tough go for them up there, but especially in the postseason. They might be able to survive the regular season down here in southern Arizona, but it's going to be tougher for them in a 5A situation. They wanted to stay in 4A, but the AIA said no, so now they've got 11 days to appeal that and see if they can get it permanently changed back. All right, DK on the Sports Tip. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together. Collisions that are reported Irvington near I-19 on Irvington west of I-19. Oro Valley, Lambert Lane west of Pushview Lane, and a crash reported on Grant Road east of I-10. Got some backup slowdowns southbound on Keno approaching Benson Highway. Some more slowdowns Ajo and Mission southbound westbound travel, and some slowing on southbound I-19, light slowing approaching Irvington. And for your weather, there is a freeze warning in effect overnight, lows near 32, 61, sunny tomorrow, 60 on Sunday, and 57 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. A great alternative to a mobile phone for your kids. For a limited time, go to rapidradios.com and you'll get 60% off. Free UPS shipping. Add code radio and get an extra 5% off.
And that's why I always come up with the best ideas.
All right, you had a good idea last month.
Yep, people really loved getting a brand new Alaskan AC Grizzly with 12 months, no payments, and no interest.
Plus a 10-year guarantee on parts and labor.
It was a good idea, Gary.
Bet you can't pull another rabbit out of your pants.
Hat.
Bet I can.
Bet you can't.
All right, settle down. Let's hear Gary's idea for this month.
Let's do it again.
Do it again? That's your idea?
Not good.
Not good? It's
brilliant.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Gross.
Give the people what they want.
Another month to get in on the best thing we do all year.
Folks can get the AC that was built for Arizona summers.
They can get it and make no payments until 2026.
And they're getting 10 years parts and labor covered.
Then it's settled. Alaskan AC is giving you another chance to get our exclusive made for Arizona air conditioner.
The Grizzly.
AlaskanAC.com.
The Wildcats play here. This is your home of Arizona Wildcats football, men's basketball, and baseball. This is the home of the Wildcats. You're listening to Wildcats Radio 1290.
Sean Furrier for Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Our beautiful Arizona winter weather brings cooler overnight temperatures, which means some of you are now seeing your vehicle's low pressure warning light. Colder overnight temperatures can lower your tire's pressure just enough to trigger a warning light. But don't worry, many times the solution is simply adding the correct amount of air to your tires. Then get back to enjoying the fantastic winter weather. If adding the air doesn't do the trick, stop by any of our 14 area Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care locations for a free tire inspection and air pressure check. And if you need help with the low pressure warning light, we fix those too. Mention this radio offer for a free installation with the purchase of any new tire pressure sensor. We'll install it in your wheel and rebalance your tires absolutely free. You'll find even more specials to get your car road trip ready at jackfurriers.com. So call ahead, make an appointment online, or just drop by. Jack Furrier Tire and Auto Care. Since 1960, we're here to get you there.
This Saturday, catch Adia Barnes and the Cats as they take on Iowa State at McHale Center. Tip off at 2 p.m. with coverage starting at 1:45 with Derek Palmer. Don't miss it. Only on KTUC 1400. Bear down, Arizona.
Hey homeowners, are you ready to chill out and go green? Goodfellas Air Conditioning can help. Introducing our latest lineup of energy-efficient systems featuring the new R32 refrigerant. It's cooler, greener, and better for the planet. You'll enjoy lower energy bills and a smaller carbon footprint. Not a fan of change? Goodfellas has a surplus of reliable R410 systems available. Unsure about what system you have or have questions? Give us a call for a free inspection. Goodfellas Air Conditioning, keeping it cool, keeping it green, and always keeping you comfortable.
Prescription products require completion of an online consultation with an independent healthcare provider and are only available if prescribed. Subscription required. Additional restrictions apply. See website for more details and safety information.
Is Cialis Daily really better than Viagra?
If you like spontaneity, the answer is yes. So when the mood strikes, you're ready to go.
I felt like a young man again. My wife is definitely much happier.
When you take it, you're ready to go.
Does Cialis Daily last longer than Viagra?
Guys are raving that their results last even longer.
My partner thinks that I am a rock star.
Because it is effective, I say I'm on a second honeymoon.
It's literally life-changing.
Are 30-day sample packs available?
You can now access a 30-day sample pack at TryRexMD.com with generics at just $1 per tablet, if appropriate. Online approval at TryRexMD.com is simple, with medication delivered direct to your door. There's no copay, no doctor office visit, and your shipping is always free. Visit TryRexMD.com to get your sample pack. That's TryRexMD.com.
KCUB Tucson, a Cumulus media station. We are the sports station that Tucson turns to for all the latest news when it comes to Arizona men's basketball, along with all the play-by-play action. We are Wildcats Radio 1290. Live from the CNWT.
Wait, what's the CNWT? Central Northwest Tucson. Duh.
It's DK on the Sports Tip with your host, David Kelly.
Radio. Just when I thought I was out, they drug me back in.
Featuring J.W. Madden.
Don't tell me about flip-flops, man. I'm a native.
David Amata.
Hey, that's Dragon Ball to you.
And Cricket getting you home with traffic and weather.
Camp on Melt Lemon, not in the left lane on the freeway.
Here we go! And now, a man who has not one, but three first names, David Scott Kelly.
Final hour of the week. Taking you home on this Friday. Hope you are doing well. DK on the Sports Tip. Of course, our regular show week is done, but we've got more to do tomorrow. Arizona basketball tomorrow night, 8 o'clock tip-off at McHale Center. These next two games are going to have you up late. 8 o'clock and then 9 o'clock on Tuesday for the game against Baylor. So if you thought the late starts in the Pac-12 were a thing of the past, think again. But you did get an early start on Tuesday in West Virginia.
You know,
5 o'clock.
We complain, but how does it affect the East Coast, right? I mean, you're talking about like an 8 p.m., 9 p.m. tip here in Tucson.
Yeah.
Those fans in Orlando, how late do they have to stay up for that?
Yeah, well, it's 10 o'clock.
Exactly.
Yeah,
10 p.m.
This is on the main. This is on the main ESPN network. So yeah, you gotta be up late to see this one, for sure. If you're in Orlando. So what do we got? We got noon. The next road trip is noon and 7 in Texas Tech and Oklahoma State. Then you've got 1 and 8:30 on the next homestand. So at least the Saturday games moving forward, I think, are pretty much, well, not all of them are early. I think it's back and forth. We have an 8 o'clock game against, who's that? That's at Baylor.
You know, it's
That's
funny.
A Wednesday.
Another way to look at this, DK, is that for the past, I would say, 25, 30 years, it's been Oregon, Washington have snuck in there on occasion, but mostly UCLA and Arizona, right, are the marquee teams from the Pac. So when networks had a choice of what teams they wanted to put into their rotation, UCLA and Arizona got top billing. Now that Arizona's moved over to the Big 12, DK, how many brands are there in that conference?
Yeah.
So when networks have to pick from what Big 12 games they want to watch or want to broadcast as opposed to Pac-12, Arizona fans may not get priority slotting for every single game because there's a lot of big names. I mean, Houston's been a big name lately. Baylor, obviously, Kansas has always been that name. So and Iowa State, I mean, is playing great right now. So there's a lot of really quality teams. That has to do with where Arizona gets slotted in the broadcast schedule.
The swim meet is over at the Hillenbrand Aquatic Center. Harvard beats Arizona 178 to 122. Again, I don't know. I don't ever remember a Harvard athletic team competing here, at least in the 17 years I've been here, against a Arizona team. And JW, you were saying that back in the day, Ivy League swimming was a really big deal.
Yeah, my dad went to Yale and for undergrad, and he told me that when he was in school there in the late 40s, early 50s, that they were the talk of the town, that the swimming and diving was where it was at, because apparently, DK, they didn't lose from like the 40s, mid-40s until the early 60s.
Wow.
They didn't lose a single regular season meet. So we were talking off air about the amount of money that those administrations must have had, because obviously before television and revenue sharing and universities being able to pull from that amount of that pool of money for all the networks, especially since cable was invented, the haves and have-nots were really the schools that had the most alumni that had money to donate, right? And one would think that Princeton, Harvard, Yale, those kind of schools that dominated football in the 20s and 30s. But yeah, apparently, I don't know much about Harvard swimming. I do know they were really good at crew?
Oh, yeah.
For the longest time. I think they won all the national championships in rowing. But yeah, Yale. I know Yale was very, very good at one point in swimming.
So 2012 apparently was Harvard baseball came out here to play Arizona. So that would have been the national championship year, 2012. The Crimson. Let me see if I can pull that up here real quick and find out what happened that weekend. So it hasn't been 13 years. 13 years since that happened. Yeah, Harvard came out here and played a early March series at High Corbett Field. The Wildcats won 7-1, 3-1, and 13-2 on their way to winning a national championship.
I don't see a single football matchup ever.
No, I wouldn't think that's happened. But, I mean, yeah, if so, that would have been really early.
Right.
Yeah,
but I
been
mean,
early.
Arizona's been playing for a long time, and so has Harvard. I know, travel wasn't quite what it was back in those days. But, yeah, apparently they've played 3 times in basketball. Yeah, 3-0. So not a lot of
When was the last time in basketball?
The last time was 2013.
All right.
Yeah, in Salt Lake City in a neutral event. It doesn't say here. Right. That was Solomon Hill, Mark Lyons, Nick Johnson, Caleb Tarzuski, Kevin Parham that year.
All right, so we know it's been at least 12 years. Well, what would that be? 13 years. Just close to 13 years. The last time a Harvard team came out here to play in Tucson. And the swim team was back. I do believe, if I'm not mistaken, well, actually, no. I got a later one than that. Harvard softball did appear in the 2019 regional here in Arizona, and the Wildcats dispatched of them by a score of 5-1. So it has only been 5 years since a team from Harvard competed out here in Southern Arizona. So you just got to it just takes a little bit of research to find out when those Crimson last unveiled their colors here in Southern Arizona. Good stuff. Good stuff, as always. 520-848-1290, 520-848-1290 is the number to get in on the program. You can call us at that number. You can text us at that number. We were diving in. We're going to be talking some high school football coming up here in about 10 minutes or so with Jeff Bakota. JP the Wild Man is going to join us, and we'll talk about some of the realignment that has taken place and the folks who wanted to move and didn't want to move and all that is involved with that. I mean, constant realignment. So let me just read you the teams that were switched and how this worked out in terms of Southern Arizona. So Empire was placed in 3A. They appealed to 4A. That was granted. So Empire will be in 4A next year. Flowing Wells was in 5A. They appealed down to 4A. That appeal was denied. Ironwood Ridge was placed in 5A. They appealed down to 4A. That was denied. Nogales is in 5A. They appealed down to 4A. That was denied. Sound Point Catholic is 6A. This is the big one. They're in 6A. They've been in 6A now, I think, for 2-3 years. They appealed down to 5A, but that was denied. And I think that was it in terms of Southern Arizona. So only one team appealed to go up. That was Empire. We were out there at Empire, obviously, for one of our It's Almost Friday night broadcasts during the football season. And they've got a good young program building out there under George Kelly, and they appealed to go up. They wanted to play in a higher conference. They want to challenge themselves, and that was granted to them. Maybe the most interesting one is Scottsdale Saguaro, who, they've over the years gone from 4A to 5A up to 6A, one of the best programs in the state. They appealed to go down from 6A to 5A after only winning one game last season. The all-powerful Scottsdale Saguaro. People were like scratching their heads. It's like, what? Now, unfortunately, that program, or fortunately, is being coached now by, young man out of Pima, spent a year at Catalina Foothills. His last name is Kelly, too. I forget his first name.
Darius.
Darius, thank you. Darius Kelly played at Pima College, went on to Syracuse, was an assistant at Saguaro, and then got the head job. But last year, I think they only won one game. And so they wanted to go down to 5A. That was denied. So Darius hopefully gets it going there. You don't want to have too many one-win seasons at Saguaro. I mean, that's amazing to think that, that they would fall that far and only be able to win one game. But that's where they were last year. High school football. Now, the programs can still appeal up till the 11th. The executive committee now, you can appeal to the executive committee until the 21st to get a final ruling on your placement. We'll talk to JP about all of that here straight ahead. Cricket rejoins us for more about what is happening, and more about what's happening here in Southern Arizona this weekend for your enjoyment.
Yes, indeed. Tonight there's a Broadway rave tonight, celebrating the best of Broadway at The Rock at 9 tonight. Your wife likes raves and Broadway.
She likes Broadway. She likes Broadway. I like
the
raves.
See, so if you guys weren't going to Yachtly Crew tonight, that'd be like the perfect thing for you guys.
It would be. I don't know that I've ever been to The Rock. I've heard about it. Have you been there? Have you seen a show there? Yeah.
Oh yeah. I think it used to be called Mud Bags. What was it? Mud Bogs?
The Rock?
Yeah. I mean, it was something else
Green
before
Dolphin?
that. Yeah, it's been many things.
So The Rock is the old Green Dolphin.
Yeah.
Now, I know the Green Dolphin. I hung out there once or twice in college.
Pretty sure. I mean, it was either The Rock or that other one that's on the same street on 9th. There, like 9th and 8th. Yeah, there's a couple of bars there.
Okay, gotcha.
All right.
Is something fun for the family. Second Saturday's Family Fest at Trail Dust Town tomorrow, 10 a.m. until noon. Sunday is Spooky Sundays at Casa Video and Film Bar. And on Sunday, they're going to be showing Beetlejuice at 7. Odd Dogs Hot Dogs will be there with trivia and prizes. Casa Videos on Speedway, west of Country Club. Also, the Zappe Family Circus starts tonight through January 26th at the Mercado District. And by the way, still half-off sweet deals available to get you into the Zappe Family Circus.
There's still a few left.
There are still a few left.
All right.
$12.50, by the way, per admission ticket. WildcatsRadio1290.com.
All right. Zappe Family Circus is happening right there. It's funny you mentioned the second Saturday out at Trail Dust Town. We still don't know what happened to the actual
downtown Tucson, right? I thought, yeah.
Like it went away, and nobody really said why it went away. And I tried to make a few calls to find out, and I couldn't get a hold of anybody that wanted to tell me anything. So I still don't know what happened with the actual second Saturdays downtown. But if you know that, please call up and tell us, because I'm still interested.
You could remain anonymous.
You can remain exactly. We'll put on the
like the
voice
disguiser.
Yeah.
They had that started it started in the late 80s and it ran through like the mid 90s, and then they did not do downtown. It used to be called Downtown Saturday Nights, and they did not do
I like
it
that
for
title.
a long time because of just. It was a bad area.
Yeah.
And that got all cleared up, and that's why they brought it back second Saturdays. But I haven't heard a reasoning either. Maybe something similar. I know we found out why the Bear Down thing was for weather.
Yeah.
Right? But we never heard anything about about second Saturdays.
It's a huge secret.
It is a huge secret. Anything exciting on the cricket agenda?
I'm going to take my sister and her 2 girls, my nieces, to 4th Avenue.
Ooh.
My sister, she likes that like hippie, like healing, like, herbs and like all that stuff. I don't think the girls have ever been downtown or to 4th Avenue before.
This is a day trip, or?
Yes.
Okay.
We're going to do a day trip to
Awesome.
4th Avenue tomorrow.
Is there a particular eatery that they want to go to that you're going to have maybe lunch at, or?
I don't know. Sister will want like hummus. My nieces will want Mexican. So I don't know how we're going to.
What's the one with the soup in the bread bowl?
Is it Bison Witches?
Bison Witches.
Yeah. That might be good.
Yeah. Have you ever had soup in a bread bowl?
I think I have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really
have you
good.
ever been to San Francisco?
No.
Okay.
I have.
That's all they do out there.
Oh, is that where that started?
That's where it came from.
Soup
Yeah,
and a bread
sourdough
bowl?
bread bowl with clam chowder.
Okay. Outstanding. All right, well, have fun down on 4th Avenue.
Thank you.
There you go. Right now, though, she's going to get you home or get you to Yachtly Crew or get you wherever you are going on this Friday night.
And from the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather together. Collisions that are clearing at 22nd Street and Country Club, Valencia west of I-19, Grant Road east of I-10. Still some westbound backups on Grant approaching I-10. And to the northwest side, Lambert Lane, west of Pushview Lane. Some usual slowdown southbound La Cholla at Ajo. More backup southbound I-19 frontage road at Irvington and Ajo and Mission busy as well. Freeze warning 32, the low 61, sunny tomorrow, 60 on Sunday, and 54 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 Traffic and Weather together.
This report is sponsored by Indeed.com. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Their end-to-end solution helps you attract, interview, and hire candidates all year round. Schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from your Indeed dashboard. Learn more by visiting Indeed.com/credit.
The very best in play-by-play is on Tucson's best sports station, Wildcats Radio 1290. This is the home of the Wildcats and NFL play-by-play. This is the one and only Wildcats Radio 1290.
Well, it's the first part of a new year, and some people are coming up with some pretty interesting New Year's resolutions.
I'm taking karate classes.
Hey, wait just a minute.
Let's get something really stupid tattooed on our butt.
Oh, I'm sorry. Why not make your New Year's resolution to always save up to 40% on your favorite tobacco products at Tobacco Barn? You'll not only save up to 40%, but there's also no city or state sales tax at Tobacco Barn because they're on the reservation.
I'm getting married to the first girl I meet. Hey there, sweetheart.
And you can save up to another $3 with a coupon at TobaccoBarnTucson.com.
Let's try parachuting. Geronimo!
So save up to 40%, save with no city or state sales tax, and save up to another $3 with a coupon at TobaccoBarnTucson.com. But maybe skip the skydiving. Tobacco Barn, Nogales Highway, just south of Valencia. Check TobaccoBarnTucson.com.
Deep three is good, and the Cats are on top.
Put up a three-pointer that'll count if it falls, and it does!
Do you believe in McHale magic? Every voice matters. Every roar matters. And when your Wildcats take the floor against top 25 Big 12 opponents, you make the difference. McHale Center is the place to be, and the time is now to experience the high-flying action of Arizona basketball. Don't wait and lock in your tickets today by calling 520-621-2287 or by visiting ArizonaWildcats.com. Bear down. Go Cats!
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated in the best hearing aids of 2024 by USA Today, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, just $189.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 500,000 happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
I've just been feeling so sluggish lately. You should try the Metamucil 2-Week Challenge. The Metamucil 2-Week Challenge? Yeah, Metamucil 4-in-1 Fiber helps trap and remove the waste that weighs you down. Start your daily routine now, and in 2 weeks, you could be feeling great. Well, it's been 2 weeks. How you feeling? Lighter and feeling great.
If you want to feel lighter by promoting digestive health, sign up to take the 2-week challenge at Metamucil.com. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
And that's why I always come up with the best ideas.
All right, you had a good idea last month.
Yep, people really loved getting a brand new Alaskan AC Grizzly with 12 months, no payments, and no interest.
Plus a 10-year guarantee on parts and labor.
It was a good idea, Gary.
Bet you can't pull another rabbit out of your pants.
Hat.
Bet I can.
Bet you can't.
All right, settle down. Let's hear Gary's idea for this month.
Let's do it again.
Do it again? That's your idea?
Not good.
Not good? It's
brilliant.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Gross.
Give the people what they want.
Another month to get in on the best thing we do all year.
Folks can get the AC that was built for Arizona summers.
They can get it and make no payments until 2026.
And they're getting 10 years parts and labor covered.
Then it's settled. Alaskan AC is giving you another chance to get our exclusive made for Arizona air conditioner.
The Grizzly.
AlaskanAC.com.
Stay informed on all the latest news from McHale Center and Arizona men's basketball by following us on Twitter at Wildcats1290. When news breaks from Tommy Lloyd's team, we will bring it to you on Wildcats Radio 1290.
Westwood One presents Today in Women's Sports. Since a late November loss to Notre Dame, the USC basketball team has rattled off 11 wins in a row. On Wednesday, the number 4 ranked Trojans rallied to hand the number 8 ranked Maryland Terrapins their first loss of the season, 79-74. First-team All-American sophomore Juju Watkins struggled from the field but still finished with 21 points and 9 rebounds in front of a raucous Maryland crowd.
It's always a blessing when we're able to play in front of a great crowd like this. So yeah, we never take it for granted, and it's definitely helping move the game forward. It lies on all of our shoulders. I don't play alone. Nobody plays alone. So to have a team behind me and have other great players to share the platform with, it's been amazing.
USC's 15-1 start to the season and 5-0 start in Big Ten play is its best since the 1993-94 campaign. They return home after this East Coast road trip to face Penn State on Sunday. With Today in Women's Sports, I'm Maggie Gray on Westwood One.
Now's the time to shop limited-time doorbuster deals during Pro Savings Days at Lowe's. Save $50 on a Little Giant King Combo 6-foot ladder. Was $199, now $149. Plus, save $100 on a DeWalt XR 20-volt Power Stack 5 amp-hour battery. Was $199, now $99. Get these can't-miss deals now before they're gone. Lowe's knows savings. Lowe's knows pros. Doorbusters valid 1/13 through 1/15. Selection varies by location while supplies last.
And Doug. Limu wanted me to tell you to customize your car insurance and save hundreds with Liberty Mutual. He says because we all like to save a buck. No, okay, he said with the extra cash, you can lease a new truck. Wait, he said he went to middle school with geese and ducks? Actually, I think Limu just said squawk.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Savings vary. Underwritten by Liberty Mutual Insurance Company and affiliates. Excludes Massachusetts.
DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
All right, we were talking about high school football in that last segment and some of the realignment that, pretty much it seems like takes place or attempts to take place almost annually in high school football. Some of the teams that get placed and want to go up or want to go down and that type of thing, who was granted, who was denied. The big winner in this in Southern Arizona was Empire, as they appealed to go up from 3A to 4A, and they are going to get to do just that, to parse through it all. Joining us now is the legendary Jeff Bakota, also known as JP the Wild Man from AZ Sports Network. We haven't chatted with Jeff in a while. Jeff, how you doing?
Pretty good. Just coming off a little bit of a sickness over the holidays.
Okay. Well, see, man, you're going through it, man. It seems like the last time we communicated, you were having a little bit of some teeth work done. It's like we're getting to that part of our lives, man, where there's always some tweaking that needs to be done.
Oh, man, that's for sure.
All right, so let's talk about realignment and where this stands right now. I mentioned Empire going up, wanting to go up. They got placed again in 3A, which is where they've been, but wanting to go up to 4A. Do you think that's a good deal for them?
Oh, yeah, for sure. Basically, when it comes to the small school sports, especially in the 3A, Empire would have been in the South Division. And, in the South Division, you have Thatcher, you've got PRCA, you have Safford, you have Sabino. And it's much better to go into the 4A division and be more successful than that 3A South. And so for Empire, I think it's perfect for them. I knew that was going to happen for sure.
Yeah, I mean, that was a team that obviously George Kelly, we were out there earlier this year. We did one of our shows from out there, and they've got an up-and-coming program. He's done a fantastic job with them. So I think they'll immediately be able to for sure compete up there. Was it a surprise to you that, I mean, obviously, first-year program out at Desert Christian, they played 1A last year, got into the postseason after they had some early season issues with not enough players and injuries and whatnot, but they recovered from that to make the postseason. Surprised that they're all of a sudden up to 11-man football? Is that generally how that works, where a team can play one season at 8 and then immediately jump to 11, or is that usually a multi-season process to get up to 11?
It all depends on when they joined. So they joined in the second part of the 2-year schedule block, so they were allowed to go to 8-man, and then of course now they're going to be an 11-man. I think that's where they want to be anyway from the beginning, as if you notice, their other sports are all 2A now instead of 1A. So I think that works out for them pretty good, and it's a good attraction for the school. I mean, that's what's going to happen. You're going to get athletes coming maybe to Desert Christian because they want to play football now, and maybe they don't want to go to a bigger school.
I know your focus generally is to the smaller schools, 3A and below, but what did you make of Saguaro trying to go down from 6A to 5A?
Man, on the Twitter or X, I had brought that up several times if you saw it, because, they win all these championships in a row, and then suddenly they have one losing season, and everybody was saying, oh, they're going to move down now, or they want to move down. And I was just like, okay, if you remember, this all started with this going up and down was because of them, or mainly because of them, and that's what everybody thinks, because they were in 4A, dominating everybody. They're a destination school where all these D1 kids were going, and they wouldn't move up. And so everybody believes that the reason this happened was mainly for them to get up to 6A,
right,
so they can play with the potential that they have. And so now for them to suddenly say, oh, poor us, we had a losing season, we want to go down to 5A, no, it was just, I'm sorry. The past people did what they did, and if you came in as a head coach, you live with what's going on right then. Now, remember, they can still appeal to the AIA executive division. What this was they had to go in front of the 6A and the 5A division committee, and they need to say why they feel they should move down. And the 6A has to release them and say, okay, you can go down, or the 5A also has to say, okay, we'll take them. I don't know what happened on that, but obviously they said no way. So now they'll probably appeal to the next level.
So explain to maybe folks and what you know about the next part of this process, because I believe it's like you have 11 days to appeal to this executive committee. So when they go in front of this committee, what generally do these schools say to try to change their circumstance?
It's either going to come down to the losing part of it, or a lot of times it's travel. So like, for instance, at South Point, I mean, come on, they've been winning as well. So what they're going to probably bring up to the executive committee, and this is just my thinking, is enrollment or not enrollment. They're going to sit here and say, okay, look how much travel we're having to do going to play the Phoenix schools, and if we could be moved down, we'd play more of the Tucson schools. And I think that's basically what it's going to come down to. Most of these teams have to really sell it to them like it's going to be a major hardship for them to move down.
And here was the thing that I said, JP, about during the regular season, and as it related to South Point Catholic. And granted, they had a pretty good season this year and got into the postseason and won a game. But it just seems like with them being the only Tucson team in 6A, to me it almost felt like at times they were irrelevant, because the only team from Southern Arizona they played was Marana. And you've got these schools from, they're traveling. The 4 or 5 games they travel, they're going to Phoenix to play. The 6A teams that are coming down here are Phoenix teams that we're not familiar with. It was almost like, oh, who's South Point playing? Oh, they're playing a team we don't really know much about. So it was almost like their aura, to me, kind of suffered because of that, because it wasn't like, oh, South Point's playing, playing Mountain View, or South Point's playing Canyon del Oro, another team we know. It was like, well, we don't really know much about. I mean, obviously, you know some of the teams that came down here, but we don't really know about this team or that team or that team or this team. Do you kind of maybe see it that way, or no? Do you think 6A and them being the only ones down here, is that good or bad for them?
Well, I think the competition is better for them to be in 6A, but even in the past, when I first moved here in 2003, I remember when they did play at least at 5A or 6A, but then they went to 4A. So I think the other part of it, and I don't know if people think about this, that I think what's taken their aura away to a certain degree is Micah. I think with them on that east side and them coming into the mix in Tucson, but of course we want those games to happen as well. So in my opinion, people aren't worried that South Point's going to stay in 6A, because they were one of those teams that were in 4A with Saguaro, if you remember, that got moved up eventually to 6A. But no, it is. I mean, they're a Tucson school, and they're still playing some schools, I believe, but not as many as they used to be.
We're chatting with JP the Wildman from AZ Sports Network. You mentioned Micah won the state championship in just their fourth varsity season this year. Followed that from last year's 4A champion, Canyon del Oro. Canyon del Oro, one of those teams that got placed up into 5A. They petitioned to go back to 4A, but were denied. The thing that disappoints me about that is now they're breaking up what I thought would be a really good rivalry for a lot of years between Micah and CDO. I mean, certainly they could still play and have great games, but when they were playing in 4A, you almost felt like, man, it's going to be the winner of that rivalry that might be the top team coming out of Southern Arizona in Conference 4A.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. And I'm sure they're going to want to play each other. But once again, see, the way this whole up and down situation started back in 2020 is they did it year by year, if you remember. And then they finally went to the 2-year block. And the big schools now, like when they did this first alignment before they put it up for this the appeals right now, they were placed based on their success going back 3 years. The small schools do 5 years. So CDO, of course, they had that good group all the way from junior high on up, that culminated with that state championship, and they were gone, but then they got moved up now. So, they're going to have to – that's been the debate with all of this. Just you can have one really good class that takes you really far, but what happens when they're gone? And that's the big debate about moving down, especially some of the smaller schools, which include, 4A. 4A is kind of at that limit. So the other issue is that right now it looks like 4A is going to have like 48 teams.
Wow.
And 2A is going to have 60.
2A is going to have 60?
Yes.
Wow.
Because remember, in the past, they've never moved teams down to 1A.
Yeah.
And they never moved any 1A teams up to 2A. So it's just been, getting rid of the better teams and then bringing down the ones that weren't successful. And now you just have this, they're trying to deal with it. I think they're going to increase the amount of schools that actually maybe are in the playoffs, like have the play-ins like they do in other sports. That would be my idea.
Well, I would think you would have to with 60 teams. Wow. Any other surprises that came out of this process for you?
Yeah, actually, I was surprised with Santan Charter. They're a 2A school. They wanted to go to 3A, and, they had some success the last 2 years. Their basketball team gets in like D1 kids, so I know that they wanted to move up, but they were denied. And I think the reason they were denied is because when you go up from 2A to 3A, the other schools in 3A want to make sure that you probably can fulfill like JV schedules and stuff like that. So I think that was a surprise to me. Somewhere there, they didn't get released. Either the 2A committee say, no, we want them here, which I don't think so, because with 60 teams, I'm sure 2A committee is saying, let's get more teams out of here. But 3A probably said, not yet, So, and then the other one that was a surprise was in 3A with ALA West Foothills, who were able to go up to 4A. I think a lot of us thought they wouldn't do it. They would just stay another 2-year block, to maybe win that championship, because that's kind of the way people see the charter schools. They start off in 3A, they stay until they win it, and then they move on to 4 or 5A.
Yeah, and one other school, obviously Pima, an outside school, but in this general region, Pima Rough Riders, they wanted to go down, I believe it was, to 2A.
Right.
They were already in 3A, though, right? They were 3A, right? Or were they 2A and got pushed up?
No, they were 2A.
They were
Morenci
2A and got pushed
bumped
up.
if you remember, to 3A.
Yeah.
And I called this one from the beginning. And Pima will not be down to 3A. I will bank everything on this, and here's the reason why. Any team from when they started this up and down, whoever got pushed up, not one team from 2A up to 6A has been allowed to petition and come back down because that would open the floodgates, as you know, and it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And here's the funny thing about this. Pima lost the last 2 championships to Scottsdale Christian. Pima, though, had higher power rankings all the way going back 5 years, so they had got moved up. Scottsdale Christian didn't. Their deviation was under 2, and they barely were able to stay in 2A so they could come back in 3B.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I
like I said, I've never been a big fan of this whole reorganization. Like you said, was every year at one point, and then it went to every 2 years. I've never really quite understand. I've never lived anywhere where they did this like routinely. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I don't like it either, and I've been very vocal, especially with the teams to move down, because now we're seeing, enrollments of 1,500 moving down to 2A because they haven't won a lot of games, and when you got a team that hasn't won, that they have that big of an enrollment, I think there's more to it. It's the admin or something's going on. And I just think it's unfair because if you're a 2A team that's a mediocre team, now you're going to get beat up by those 1,500 enrollment schools. I just don't like it.
Yeah. JP, tell the folks how they can follow you and your AZ Sports Network.
Sure. azsportsnetwork.net is our website. And other than that, we're on Twitter with AZ Sports Network. And we're on there. We cover... Since 2006, we've been covering the small school sports, and we dabble. We have been doing flag football. We're the first organization to really hit the flag football. So we have been doing the girls' flag also.
All right, who's your favorite 3A, 2A, 1A boys and girls basketball teams right now? Southern Arizona.
Oh man, in Southern Arizona, that's a tough one for me on those ones. I think Desert Christian is looking really good in 2A in there. And of course, you always have your St. David's in the 1A division through those. Bobakiri could be a surprise. They have a kid that transferred in that one played for me in football. In 2A, in 3A, Sabino's looking pretty strong right now. Push Ridge is always in there. I think the same people. I think that's here and there because they're having that open tournament in 1 through 3A now.
Yeah, right.
So I think, the top 4 teams will go in there, and I think, you've got, once again, those traditional teams in Southern Arizona. And once again, I really don't follow the bigger schools. It's mainly the small schools. But the good thing is that a team like Santan Charter, who literally has transfers from the prep schools, D1 kids, hopefully they'll go ahead and be in that copper division for the open division, and they'll allow the 2A and 3A teams to compete, just for themselves.
JP the Wild Man, AZ Sports Network. JP, appreciate a chance to talk to you again, brother.
All right, same here. Anytime.
Let's get you a check of traffic, and our Desert Diamond Casino replay will wrap up this week. Cricket gets you home every 20 minutes on the 5s with your traffic and your weather.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio, 1290 traffic and weather together. With some slowdowns westbound on Valencia approaching Mission. Had an earlier collision reported on Valencia to the west of I-19. Other collisions, 22nd and Country Club. Grant Road east of I-10 westbound slowing on Grant approaching I-10 and also Lambert Lane west of Pushview Lane. Freeze warning with 32 as the low, 61 sunny tomorrow, 60 on Sunday, and a 55 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio, 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by Taco Bell. The new $7 Lux Cravings Box from Taco Bell with 3 indulgent full-size classics, chips, nacho cheese sauce, and a drink for just $7. At participating stores for a limited time only while supplies last. Price and participation varies. Drinks exclude freezes. Tax extra.
And that's why I always come up with the best ideas.
All right, you had a good idea last month.
Yep, people really loved getting a brand new Alaskan AC Grizzly with 12 months, no payments, and no interest.
Plus a 10-year guarantee on parts and labor.
It was a good idea, Gary.
Bet you can't pull another rabbit out of your pants.
Hat.
Bet I can.
Bet you can't.
All right, settle down. Let's hear Gary's idea for this month.
Let's do it again.
Do it again? That's your idea?
Not good?
Not good? It's
brilliant.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Gross.
Give the people what they want.
Another month to get in on the best thing we do all year.
Folks can get the AC that was built for Arizona summers.
They can get it and make no payments until 2026.
And they're getting 10 years parts and labor covered.
Then it's settled. Alaskan AC is giving you another chance to get our exclusive made for Arizona air conditioner.
The Grizzly.
AlaskanAC.com.
Looking for unlimited gameplay all season long? Dave & Buster's is introducing the all-new Winter Season Pass. You can pick your perfect pass and play like a Dave & Buster's VIP with unlimited access to over 140 games and deals on sips and bites. Sign up now and take advantage of this incredible deal now through February 28th. Don't forget to stop in Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. for lunch specials and grab the all-new Winter Season Pass. There's nowhere better to eat, drink, play, and watch than Dave & Buster's, the best place outside the stadium to see the games this football season.
Think of waking up with energy, standing tall and feeling free. Think First Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
First Chiropractic is pleased to announce that Access Health Plans now cover chiropractic care. A referral by your PCP is required. For more information, go to firstchiro.com, the most trusted name in chiropractic care. A proud U of A radio sponsor.
First Chiropractic, good health is to enjoy.
Hi, you know me, Scott Lehman from ScottSaysYes.com. Check out this month's Wildcats Radio 1290 Community Calendar powered by Premier Auto Center.
Visit the Wildcats Radio 1290 Community Calendar at wildcatsradio1290.com to find out what community events are coming up in the Tucson area. You can also find Wildcats Radio 1290 events, upcoming sporting events, and more. Get the details and get involved with our community at wildcatsradio1290.com.
Go to ScottSaysYes.com today.
Hey homeowners, are you ready to chill out and go green? Goodfellas Air Conditioning can help. Introducing our latest lineup of energy-efficient systems featuring the new R32 refrigerant. It's cooler, greener, and better for the planet. You'll enjoy lower energy bills and a smaller carbon footprint. Not a fan of change? Goodfellas has a surplus of reliable R410 systems available. Unsure about what system you have or have questions? Give us a call for a free inspection. Goodfellas Air Conditioning, keeping it cool, keeping it green, and always keeping you comfortable.
Get your backyard summer ready with a custom pool from First Choice Pools. A backyard oasis built around you. First Choice is a full-service builder of beautiful in-ground pools and backyard designs for years of staycations. If you want to dive in this summer, now is the time to visit TucsonPoolBuilder.com. First Choice Pools for installs, renovation, remodeling, and repair. Get started today at TucsonPoolBuilders.com. Ask about our 60-day pool. To be summer ready, First Choice is the only choice.
This is Zach Gelb of the Sports Minute. Before the season started, I would have never thought that the Washington Commanders would be playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the playoffs. But now that it's here, it's the game I'm most excited for this weekend. Baker Mayfield has been spectacular, and I also love watching Bucky Irving and Mike Evans. And on the other side, the Commanders are such a feel-good story led by rookie sensation Jaden Daniels. I think we get a close game on Sunday evening, and I'll take the Commanders not only plus the 3 points, but to also win the game outright. I'm Zach Gelb.
Welcome to TGL presented by SoFi, golf's newest league, live on ESPN and ESPN Plus. It's 2 hours of hammer-dropping, overtime-forcing, playoffs on the line golf. Tiger, Rory, and more of the best from the PGA Tour split into 6 teams. Learn more at TGLGolf.com. Tune in every week for TGL matches. Keep up, it's golf.
I've got huge news for you. WWE Monday Night Raw is live every week on Netflix. Live drama, live heroes, live action, featuring some of the biggest names in WWE, such as John Cena, undisputed WWE Champion, the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and Bianca Belair. There's never been a better time to step into the ring and stream WWE Raw. WWE Monday Night Raw is now on Netflix.
It's football season, and now you can get anything you need for game day delivered with Uber Eats. Well, almost anything. You can't get a running back, but baby back ribs? Yes. Uber Eats, official on-demand food delivery partner of the NFL.
DK on the Sports Tip on Wildcats Radio 1290.
520-848-1290. Final chance for you to get in on today's show. Don't forget to head on over. Actually, I don't think you can do that anymore because I believe we have reached kickoff of the semifinal of the second national semifinal tonight, Ohio State and Texas. So our poll has closed on that, but I will tell you the results. 75% of you said Ohio State will beat Texas tonight and join Notre Dame in the national championship game, which will be on Monday night, January the 20th. 75% of you. We appreciate all of you that went over there and voted. Also, we were talking earlier, and in fact, right now, let's just go ahead and give you our Desert Diamond Casino replay.
And now, the best thing you will hear all day.
Hachi-machi!
It's time for the Wildcat Radio Replay. In case you missed this earlier in the day, we now bring you the best of 1290. It's made possible by Desert Diamond Sportsbook, Arizona's best bet.
All right, Tucson Fire Department has sent its brush fire crew over to Southern California to help with the wildfires over there. If you want to help and donate to the American Red Cross, we have got a link set up on our website, wildcatsradio1290.com. Just head on over to our website. It's a bright red link. You'll find it right below our scoreboard. Of course, we have all of our scores, a number of high school basketball games that are going on tonight across southern Arizona. If you want to get involved in any of those, I'm just looking at some of them on the docket. We've got Walden Grove and Saraita playing on the girls' side tonight. We got Choya and Saguaro playing on the boys' side. Girls, Rincon at Catalina Foothills this evening. What else do we got here in terms of high school basketball? We've got, give you maybe one or two more of these. St. Augustine is at Empire on the girls' side as well. So right below our scoreboard, there is a link, Wildfire Relief. Learn how you can help California. Just hit the Donate Today button, and that'll take you to a page where you can donate to help help first responders who are out there dealing with that crisis in southern Arizona. We talked to Deputy Chief Barrett Baker of the Tucson Fire Department, UA football captain from 1998, on the show a little bit earlier about this process that is sending Tucson's finest out to Southern California.
We've got a dedicated team within Tucson Fire Department that is part of our wildland team. And that might consist, let's say, of 10 members. And they have the certification, so on a year-round basis, they're doing trainings, and they're actively getting deployed throughout generally the western United States. So this is not necessarily the prime wildland season. This is technically an off-season. But that being said, your training and your resources and all of those things, you have to be ready 365. In this particular case, and it's just devastating. I heard the words that you used earlier. Mother Nature is a powerful, in this particular case, opponent. And when you see the video footage, and Santa Ana winds have been around forever, but when you see how quickly something goes from a football field to an entire city, and just destroying it, then obviously you're behind from the get-go. So trying to get resources from the western states, so to speak, and get them to that particular area. You have the aerial components of it with all of the airplanes and the helicopters. The wildland firefighting, you cut line and try to stop the forward progress, so to speak. But again, 100-mile-an-hour winds. If you were on an alphabet, if that fire starts at A, by the time you're notified, it's already at M, and by the time you get there, you're at Z, and then it just keeps going. And so it's a real challenge. You take a look at all of the firefighters and the resources that they have to throw at something like that. But then what happens? You have 3 fires. And so now geographically you're being strained. The fires themselves, if it's on a hillside, how do you get water on something like that when it comes to just hand line? So fuel, weather, topography, all of these terms that we use in the fire service, they all have an impact. And unfortunately, sometimes it just takes that break with those winds dying down to where you can actually even make a dent in something like this.
We're chatting with Deputy Chief Barrett Baker of the Tucson Fire Department. And so how many folks are you guys sending out there? And are they out there already? And what's kind of their assignment? How do they work within the groups of firefighters that are already on the scene?
And it's a great question. So we sent a crew of 4 out there on our brush truck. And so, again, it's not like you're driving in a Corvette over there. So when you're taking a fire department apparatus, your travel time takes a little bit longer. They arrived 2 days ago, and it's about a 2-week deployment for them. So their initial thing was to arrive north of San Diego, and they were basically being ready to backfill some of those frontline personnel and apparatus that were getting called up to the hot spots. But those particular assignments, quite frankly, whatever they were doing yesterday might have changed 2 times over the course of 12 or 24 hours. And that's just because of the fact that it's such a dynamic situation with the number of fires and where those hot spots are and where the wind is going and pushing those fires. So right now, the last thing I say in all seriousness, communications is difficult because of the fact that the plan is for them to be here, and then 12 hours later they're somewhere else completely. So again, it's just the complexity, and it's not new. It's been something that's been going on since the 1970s. When you take it like a look at our incident command structure, and it's highly organized. But in that same vein, there are so many different pieces to it, from operations to planning to logistics to administration, and where do we factor into that? So we've got folks there that are hopefully helping out in one of those 5 components of it, and we're just hoping that they are safe and that they have the ability to minimize any further damage for these poor families that are going through a living hell right now.
And in terms of the number of people that you send over there, do people volunteer for that? Do you select those people? How does that work?
With Tucson Fire, and I don't want to speak on behalf of our neighboring agencies, but Northwest Fire and some of our close Tucson ties, we have a team that is specifically part of our wildland program. So without getting too much into the weeds, being a structural firefighter, the strategies and tactics that we use might be different than, say, a wildland firefighter. So that particular group of, say, 10 or 12, 16 on our job, they're able to do both of those. But again, the flexibility of that to be able to deploy on a 3-hour notice and be gone for 2 weeks, there's some sacrifices, and I don't want to what term I'm using there. Obviously, there's got to be some flexibility would be the better term there. So those wildland firefighters that are employed by TFD, tip of the cap to them. They work on this 365 days a year, and you hope to minimize those deployments, because if you're getting deployed, that means that we've got some really large incidents. And so we were just hoping that we can get over there and make a dent in this.
That was the Wildcat Radio Replay with the best of the best from 1290. It's brought to you by Desert Diamond Sportsbook, Arizona's best bet.
And we want to thank all of our first responders, Tucson and elsewhere across the West, who are out there fighting those blazes and protecting homes and lives in the Southern California area. That's going to wrap up our show for today. Don't forget Arizona basketball tomorrow. Our coverage begins at 4:30 with Meridian Wealth Management Arizona Game Day. Thanks to Barrett Baker. Thanks to Mark Daniels. Thanks to Jeff Bakota, JP the Wild Man, for joining us. For Cricket, J-Dub, and Dragon Ball, my name is David Kelly. That is our time for tonight. Thank you very much for your time. Have a great night and an awesome weekend.
From the O'Reilly Chevrolet Traffic Center, it's Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic. Slowdowns on the southbound I-19 frontage road approaching Irvington, Mission, and Ajo, busy westbound and southbound. More southbound slowing on southbound La Cholla at Ajo. Collisions, Irvington west of I-19, 22nd Street and Country Club, and also Valencia west of I-19. Freeze warning in 32, the low, 61 sunny tomorrow, 60 on Sunday, and a 54 now. I'm Cricket with your Wildcats Radio 1290 traffic and weather together.
This report is sponsored by Rapid Radios.
Rapid Radios are instant push-to-talk walkie-talkies offering national LTE coverage and no subscription ever. Business owners can now keep in touch with up to 200 staff members at one time. Go to rapidradios.com now for up to 60% off and free shipping.
If you're suffering from back pain and your physician is giving you a back brace or a pain pill or an injection and not explain the process of what you have and how to rehabilitate yourself, then there might be something missing. I'm Tom Corey. I'm a physiatrist here at Desert Sky Spine and Pain. If you're looking to find the root cause of your pain, any pain that's limiting your function, limiting the things that you want to do in life, Call us at 520-229-2080 or find us on the web at desertskymedicine.com.
The New Year's Eve parties may be over, but at Oro Ford, the savings are worth celebrating. Get up to $12,000 off new 2024 Ford Expeditions.